Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Lupo, back with my co-host, Pat Johnson. How you doing, dude?
Happy to be back after a full season of Survivor 47. Must say, great season, top tier season of the new era. Excited to get into it, excited to be back. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah, dude. I'm so excited to talk about Survivor 47, but we can't talk about Survivor 47 without Alex Rubino, our guest host. Alex, how are you doing?
I am great, and as much as I want to tell Pat he's wrong, because I think he's wrong on a lot, this season was great. I had so much fun with it, and that goes beyond just having my friends Andy and Teeny on the season. So good.
Yeah, that is definitely awesome that not only did you guys have some friends on the season, but also even though I have never met any of them in person prior to the season, I knew of multiple of them, so I am very happy to have watched this season. And I also agree. I would say it's the best of the new era. I had a great time watching it. We had so many blindsides. Almost every single episode topped the one before it, and it was just such a great season. Can't wait to cap it off with you guys. To recap both part one and part two of the finale, because we did not have a podcast for part one. I was also really busy for that. And I know this is coming out a little bit late for the finale, but hopefully you guys are watching it because you love Survivor, you love us, and you want to hear what we have to talk about. And I'm ready to recap this finale episode.
I was a different human when part one of the finale aired. It's been so long.
It has. I'm glad we're back recapping it.
Let's do it.
All right. First off, I just want to say going from the first vote of part one, I was so upset. I kept screaming at the TV. I looked depressed. I really hated seeing Andy go home. Andy, I didn't necessarily think was actually going to win the game, especially based on his over editing, him getting over edited, and the jury seeming like they don't really respect him. But I thought we could see him go to the end. I really wanted to see him pitch his case because he played an amazing game, just the jury didn't see it. And I thought that would have been so cool. I'm so upset that he went home from an idol play. And I'm definitely excited to talk with you guys about his move that ended up getting him voted out.
Can I say if I were to get voted out in Survivor, getting blindsided with an idol by the winner of the season in one of the most memorable idol plays ever. Not a bad way to go out. Not a bad way to go out, considering he could barely form a sentence at the beginning of the game.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not what I expected. I expected him, so here's where I'm at with Andy. We see the first episode, and part of me as a human being goes, I kind of feel for this guy. He's gonna watch this back on national television and be like, you throw your number one ally under the bus and you kind of look a little delusional. Um, but he recovered so well he was so rootable. Like you wanted to root for Andy, you know, Survivor producers wanted us to root for Andy as well. So for him to have an epic, downfall at the end, where his exit comes, uh, seems super fitting for the game that he did play. If he was gonna go out, it wasn't gonna be boring. He wasn't gonna roll over and die. I think it was a fight of resilience all the way to the end, and then he got outplayed. And that's just what happens when you underestimate somebody the whole way through. And that's the eventual winner we'll talk about, who was super underestimated. Some want to say super lucky. If you think Rachel's a lucky winner, there's luck in Survivor all the time. It's what you do with that luck. And I want to give her her flowers and her credit as not only the best season of the new era, but the best winner by far of the new era.
Ooh,
And this is where
here we go.
Alex and I cannot wait to dispute that.
Oh, you could not be more wrong. As much as I
So
love
bad.
Rachel,
Such a
as
bad thing.
much as I love Rachel, she's a great player, a great winner,
Mhm.
and we'll give her so many flowers. She ain't the best winner of the new era.
Dude, Rachel
Ab
Rachel Rachel Lamont is a top five woman winner of Survivor.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Ooh,
I
That's a
personally,
that's a
I
well.
personally have her bottom half of all winners of Survivor.
Oh, what? Oh my
Yeah,
God! You both.
I, I
There's a place
I have a
called the
lot of the
middle.
new era winners as bottom half of
Oh
the,
my God.
but
Well, speaking of her game, I do have a question for you guys.
yeah,
We saw that vote. Her decision basically came down to Sam or Andy. We know she makes the final three with Sam. And even though it was 7-1, he pitched his case very well. What if she takes out Sam right there? How do you think this goes differently?
Oh, okay, so in the Andy spot, Sam goes.
Sam goes in that spot, yes.
Is- Does that
well,
automatically put Andy in the final three, or are you saying what happens right after
What
that?
happens from there on out?
is this knowing that Andy still spilled the beans to Rachel about his game, or if he didn't do that and then Sam
Yes.
went home?
Same thing plays out. She just says, I want to take out Sam instead.
Hmm. I think that I don't know. It depends on how well Andy is at fire. If Andy can get
Really?
a lot of help from that wind again and Teeny gets screwed over, then I think Andy gets second place, but is gets at least a jury vote. Um, and it's really all about Rachel. I think if Rachel loses immunity, then I
Yeah.
think Andy wins the season. Uh,
Ooh.
I think Andy could have beaten Genevieve possibly in the end.
Oh.
Um,
Uh, wow.
but I only think that if Andy, yeah, I do because Andy telling Rachel about his game and Rachel then not being at the end and being able to then pitch Andy's case to the jury ahead of time, then Andy's explanation at Final Tribal will be even more impactful than if everyone goes into Final Tribal knowing he's a goat and then finds out good things about him. I don't think that's enough to sway jury votes his way over, let's say, Genevieve or Rachel if Rachel's in the end or if Sam's in the end. But if Rachel goes in there telling people about Andy's game and people are prepared to hear Andy's side of the game rather than just completely saying he's not going to win the game, I think he has a really good chance to win, especially because I read some interviews from people at Ponderosa. And when Andy went in there after he got voted out and explained his game for, he said like 3 to 4 hours, explained his game to a bunch of people at Ponderosa. A lot of people said that in like a question about whose gameplay impressed you the most? And like 2 or 3 people said Andy. So I think that a lot of people said we were underestimating him, and he was actually playing an amazing game and a very strategic game. And so I think he would have gotten praise at the end if Rachel was in Ponderosa telling people about his game. But we never really got to see it, unfortunately.
Pat, Pat, what say you?
Uh, Sam goes out at six. Genevieve still goes out at five. I mean, there's a chance Andy wins final immunity there and definitely just takes. Honestly, he might take Teeny.
I,
If
I almost
Andy's
think
there,
I
Andy
almost think
takes
it,
two.
I think Andy would almost need to put himself in fire. The point you made, Steven, about that he had
That's a
like
good
th
point.
he had 3 to 4 hours at Ponderosa to explain his game, and then the jury got it. You don't have that time at Final Tribal by yourself to talk.
Right. Yeah.
And I think
That's why I
his
think if
his
Rachel is not there to help his case before they get to Final Tribal, I don't think he has a shot at winning.
I know I don't think he has a shot at beating Rachel. I think Rachel and Genevieve, and I again all the love in the
I
world
don't
to
think he has a
everybody there.
shot at Rachel.
Rachel and Genevieve were on such another level that I think anybody almost gets swept by them.
I don't know about Genevieve.
I
I don't think people respected her strategic game, but I don't think that people truly uh thought she had a good enough social game because a lot of people felt burnt by her. Um,
hmm.
I think that she still was one of the biggest threats on the island, and if she made it to the end, it would be hard to beat her. But I think Andy, in a situation where Rachel's on the jury and Genevieve and Andy are at the end, I think that Andy has a shot because Rachel was able to tell people about Andy's game, and now Andy and Genevieve are on similar playing fields in terms of threat level. Now that people actually know Andy was a threat,
I don't know.
Interesting.
I gotta disagree with the Genevieve take. I think if she's in the end, she wins.
I think it's a
Because
lot closer than people think, though.
I don't know. I kind of get like Kim Spradlin and like the jury was very mad at Kim, and the way that Kim had delivered her final tribal is similar to a way that I think Genevieve would have done it. Kim's final tribal was very strategic, and it was also, but she opened the door for vulnerability, and I think that's when Genevieve would have opened that door a little bit more. Especially knowing like you have to read your jury, you have to see like is Saul the kind of guy? Is Kyle the kind of guy? Is Gabe the kind like what do they want to see out of me? And I think that she's smart enough to know that. Her and Rachel in there together, although that was never going to happen, that's the only way I think that like she could lose. But I think she beats Sam. I think she beats Andy. I think she beats Teeny, obviously, and I think she beats Sue, obviously. So
I actually completely agree with you, Pat. I think she beats everybody except Rachel. And here's the thing, and I was talking to people about this like on finale night and beyond. Say some scenario happens where we get Rachel and Genevieve at the end, and let's pretend it's a final two. Looking at jury votes, it's a really close vote in my opinion.
mhm.
Because like just going through it really quickly, like we're Sierra probably still goes Rachel, I think.
Yeah, she goes Rachel.
Sierra
Saul
goes
goes, Saul goes Rachel.
probably, but I think he also might appreciate the move of Genevieve getting
I don't
taking him
know. I
out.
think he finds it really stupid because of how soon it was. I think if
Maybe.
I think a Rachel versus Genevieve. I don't think it's a sweep for Rachel, but I don't think it's close.
How
I
many? All
I
right, so
think yeah, I don't think it's close.
so if we're saying Saul goes Rachel, fine. Gabe,
Goes Rachel for sure.
yeah. Ky- Kyle, ooh.
Sam, I think might even vote for Rachel, but like has a
I mean,
better chance of
I
voting
think
for
Genevieve
Genevieve.
has Teeny for sure.
What?
I think
Teeny's for
Genevieve.
sure voting for Rachel,
I mean,
like
I,
guaranteed.
no, I think Teeny kind of would be the type of person who would like Teeny talking about how Rachel was just Genevieve was spinning her in circles the whole season. I think Teeny might actually appreciate that.
everyone turn,
Yeah, but
everyone
everyone spun Teeny in circles.
Yes, but like Teeny kept talking about as Genevieve was like the ringleader of it, especially since Teeny played the entire game with Genevieve.
She was also kind of betrayed by her. Like she was saying at tribal
Yes, but
council, like that she was not like saying anything bad about her, was saying like she understands and respects what she had to do, but at the same time is was pissed off that Genevieve kept lying. And even though Genevieve did was a threat and did play a great game, you're sitting next to someone who Rachel, who everyone from the beginning of the merge has thought is a huge threat. And
yeah.
then she's winning immunities, has a great idol play, um, and a lot of people on the jury love her. When at the same time, Genevieve is also playing a great game, but people feel burned by Genevieve. Nobody really feels burned by Rachel.
I think the growth arc that Genevieve could pitch, like like the one we kind of got with her at the reward of like almost learning like how I'm being perceived and maybe I need to start making friends. I think that Genevieve at least makes a very good argument. And looking at this, I can see getting 3, 4 votes potentially,
Yeah.
potentially.
And it also
I
comes down to the tribal council. It comes down to the
yeah,
delivery. Like
and
Hmm.
is Rachel as confident next to Genevieve? Is she able to deliver the way that she did?
yeah,
And
because I feel like she doesn't have as many digs in it, Genevieve, as she did
well,
at
they played
Sam.
very,
Right.
they were both like the head honchos of the strategic game
I
of the
mean,
season.
I mean,
For the,
literally,
there are two people fighting for one spot.
yeah, literally the
Mhm.
Harry Potter and Voldemort comparison I thought could not have been more accurate.
Yeah, that was
Right.
funny. And like I mean, we'll talk about it later in the podcast, but I mean, just Sam doing such an amazing job at Final Tribal Council,
I
yet still 7-1 vote.
He
Um,
he deserves his
it just
flowers. He
shows
really,
how obvious Rachel was gonna win.
yeah.
But I think Sam definitely gave her a run for her money. Like Rachel thought she had it in the bag going into Final Tribal, and after Final Tribal, thought, oh my God, I might have lost or it's going to be close. And
Yeah,
then
no,
ended it.
Sam definitely gave a run, run for her money there. Um, I think it's interesting. I think Sam's a different one vote finalist than the other one vote finalists because we've had what in 40 in the from 41 to 47, we've had like 4 7-1 votes or five at this point.
By
Something
yeah, I
like that.
mean,
Yeah.
because
I think,
Jen,
41,
it was just
42,
45.
40.
It was just 45 and 46 that weren't.
They were
yeah.
both five
Yeah. So
threes.
five of them.
I was expecting more of a 5-3.
Me
Um,
too.
Thought it
I
was
was
five
saying
three
like
also. Yeah.
with this. I think Sam had um conviction, which is very powerful, and I think that he did. I think he was swaying, but not in a way to have him write the actual name down. It was like
the thing.
we can respect the game a lot more than we can respect your game a lot more than we may have kind of written it up before coming into here. But it's still like Rachel was just too dominant.
The thing that I think is so interesting in it, if you're at Final Three, you need to be the one directing things essentially. You need to be the one playing really an offensive game at that point. And I think Sam so many times kept being on the defensive.
I agree.
Rachel said, and he'd have to be like, but this. And every time you're doing that, even if you make good points, it's still just from a perception, I think, so tough to overcome that. Like you're already starting at the bottom. I won't say at the bottom, but a bit lower. And every time I feel like he made a point to rebut her, Rachel would go right back.
Hmm.
And she was so good and so fast with that that I think if she is somebody that uh, starts getting flustered, I think maybe Sam gets another vote or two.
Yeah.
But she was like prepared for every single question, every answer. And yeah, she had a really good final travel in her own right. And I want to make sure we don't lose that.
I don't know. I don't think she had a bad final tribal, but I would not consider that good. I think her
What
answers were
really?
not fantastic in relation to Sam's answers. I think Sam had a much better final tribal.
I'm not saying
Problem
Sam didn't
is
have a
that Rachel was, it's like sometimes final tribals win you the
Mhm.
game, but also sometimes you could have a terrible final tribal, yet if you played an amazing game, then you deserve to win. Like people can't forget what you did for the first 25 days of the game and just to show, and then somebody shows up on day 26 and pitches a better pitch than the person who obviously played the better game and loses. Like that
Gabler,
usually doesn't
Gabler,
happen.
Gabler.
Gabler played the best game out of the final three.
Well,
100%. Even though he had a
Okay,
great final.
okay, okay,
Cassidy didn't play that good of a game. I don't know.
okay. I don't think any of them played that good a
I don't
game,
think
but
she
that's
played a
just
good social game. That's the thing.
I
Maybe,
don't entirely disagree. But on the Rachel front, I think sometimes and what's getting lost is that Sam had such a good final tribal that Rachel's oh you're saying by comparison wasn't that good. I think like in any random season, like if I'm giving them like scores or grades, I'm probably giving Sam like probably something in the 9 range. I'm still giving Rachel like a 7. I thought she
yeah,
had a 7 to 8, a
I give her a
really, really
six.
good.
Like I would say like still around that range.
I
Yeah.
can't. The thing is, I can't find a moment where I was like, Rachel, that was bad." I
yeah.
can't find one. And
I can't
and I
find
have the entire. I
yeah.
transcribed the entire thing, and I can't find a moment where I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't a good one."
Right. I don't think she had any bad answers. I just think that Sam was able to clap back at Rachel really well and also made some good points discrediting Rachel's game. I don't think, and Rachel just didn't like come back at Sam when like Sam was discrediting her game. She would just instead just reiterate why
Well, when
her game
you're
is good.
when you're so dominant,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have to. And also something I kind of want to bring up with Rachel, um, is it possible that she is so like inwardly, outwardly good, if that makes sense? So everything that she did, right? Like we see it as kind of like a under the radar, kind of like a lower tier winner, as Steven would say.
Now,
But everything that she did was so outward, but she was such she was not perceived as this big threat early on until late when she had to win these challenges. I think it's just so funny how she can like bob and weave, and I think that's what makes her special. The challenges were great, but the big thing is like the Saul getting the advantage. People will call that luck, but that was her social game, right? She built a relationship with Saul and was able to.
I think literally
Uh,
anybody would have given her that
Well, I don't
advantage.
I
know.
well, here's what I'll say with
She
that.
was down 5-1. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were going to
but
give
I
sometimes,
her the advantage to
she
split up
didn't.
Tuku.
Yeah, it
eh,
probably doesn't. Here's what I'll say. Her social game didn't hurt her there very clearly. I'm not going to give her a ton of credit for that, but I'm also then not going to hurt her for being in a spot that would have sent her home had she not done that. Like that to me is like I look at that as a wash.
Hmm.
You
kind
kind of
of.
I
got
think that
screwed and you kind of got lucky. We move on. Like I would count that as nothing and we move
right, right,
forward.
right. I also think that's kind of crazy in Survivor, how like someone could get screwed by a twist or some weird situation, but if that situation didn't come up, then they would have won the game. Like it's
I
wild
want to.
that like Rachel
I
without
love
that
that stuff.
advantage from Saul would have went home and we would have a different winner. So,
Maybe.
which is crazy that things can happen like that. Like there could be a first boot who just says the wrong thing one time and gets voted out, but if that they didn't say that thing, they could have won the season. Like
You want
Survivor is so unpredictable like that,
you
and
want a big
I love
example?
watching it.
You want a big example?
Yeah,
Panama. What if that tribe of four older women says, you know, why would we get rid of Timbertina? Why don't we take out Suri?
crazy.
We don't have the four-time legend Suri Fields then.
Right. Crazy.
If what for all intents and purposes very well could be a mistake. But with this game, it just I think what's so good about Rachel's game, obviously, is like the way she, like Pat said, bobbed and weaved or whatever. And I think the way she also adapted her game, and it's why I can't put her at the top. She wasn't in control the entire time. She had moments where she was down, where she kind of made mistakes, and she got out of them. And I give her the credit, all the credit in the world for that. But it's just like I feel like we often see winners who either have like total control or like no control, and it was nice seeing somebody who kind of figured it out as they went.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that that makes it more impressive than someone who's playing with a bunch of dumbasses that can control the game, like Rob and Redemption Island. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
but
something to
then
be
you
Sabrina's
said
good.
about somebody who can adapt and, get a shitty hand and be able to like pick it up. Like Rachel in the pre-merge lost, her ally. She was on the wrong side of that vote. And then she,
wrong
saw.
side of Sierra.
Yeah, yeah. And then, she was still able to find a way while being able to like her threat level like rose at the same time. Because imagine if like her threat level never rose, then she might not win at the end because she's not, deemed as this like threatening force.
It,
But she has the great idol play. She wins the challenges and she was able, I think what people respected the most was her way to like hide behind some of the noise and kind of creep in at the right moments and get herself with the right people.
I really think it's just because she was good. She feels felt like a good social player in terms of relationships and someone that people were afraid of, just based on that, to be honest. Like she was never really strategic in any way the first half of the merge, but she had good social bonds. People liked her and therefore thought of her as a threat. And I think that from that, she then started winning challenges and had an idol play. And it was mainly the jury saying, okay, people saw you were a threat halfway through the merge and you still made it to the end. But the problem is, she made it to the end not from bobbing and weaving socially or strategically, but doing it with an idol that she found in fries, complete luck, and then three immunity challenge wins. That's why I don't see Rachel as that great of a winner because three immunity challenges wins, a lucky idol find in fries,
four, by the way.
and if any of that did not happen, she would have been voted
I
out.
mean, let me push back on you with one thing. The idol and the fries, yeah, lucky with that. One to get it, sure, lucky. And then she still had to go back to get the clue. She still had to go back to camp. get go into the shelter and get it. So
Yeah,
give her
that
that
that was
credit.
good. That was good.
And
Being able to hide it was really cool.
winning four immunity challenges, which tied a female record relative, like that deserves a lot of credit. Where I don't like Rachel's game, and I don't say don't like, the thing that's tough for me, and it's actually a line from a Big Brother winner a while ago, said, if you need to win a competition to save yourself, you're doing something wrong. And I think that's true to an extent, and it's why I give more credence to a winner like obviously like a Kim Spradley, who doesn't need like who isn't going home if they don't win the challenges, who doesn't need an idol play, who like should get by with votes. But even with all that said, I think Rachel deserves a lot of love, but it is not. It's why I don't have her at the top. Is that she got to a point where her threat level was so big, and everybody knew it was so big.
And you know what's interesting, which I'm after the season, it made me really think, and now I kind of understand where I stand on this. I had always been someone who, similar to, I forgot who mentioned it in Final Tribal, but oh, I think it was Andy
Andy talking about Ben and Mike,
talking about Ben and
my
Mike.
favorite moment, my
Right.
favorite moment.
That was an amazing moment in Final Tribal Council. But I am the same way as Rachel. I loved their wins. And so it's weird that I'm now saying that I don't like Rachel's win, but the more I think of it, it's less so that I respected Mike's win. It's that I was rooting for him and was happy that he won. But if thinking actually like who did I really think should have won that season? I think Mama C should have won that season. But I was so happy for Mike because I loved watching Mike. Ben, I truly think deserved the win because no one was looking for idols when he was. Um, but
Oh,
this is a different situation because it was only one idol play by Rachel. It was mostly immunity challenge wins. I think that immunity challenge wins are respectable at the end if when you have these immunities, you're able to make strategic moves to help add to your resume. Rachel did not add to her resume at all other than the idol play. So if you take away that idol play, whenever she didn't have the idol and had immunity, she was either on the wrong side of the vote or she was going to be the one voted out, and now they just went to the next biggest threat, and majority voted for the next biggest threat anyway. So she was always in the majority except for the person going home, or she was blindsided whenever she had immunity. I don't think that should be respected at the end unless you win and then are able to make a move using that immunity.
Well, let's
Pat, go for it.
let's talk while we're here, right? And while we're
Yeah.
chatting. Let's talk new era winners for a sec.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Because I want to ask both of you who you would compare Rachel's win to
In the
out
new
of
era.
the others of the new eras. Like where do we put Rachel? Who do you sandwich them in between? Probably is a better way to phrase
Okay.
this.
So even though I
So I don't want
am
to really compare. I more so want to see where Rachel stands compared to some others.
And to be clear, we're ranking their winning game or how they would do in say 10,000 random seasons? Because I think the
I
answers
would
are
say I
different.
would say I judge the game you saw.
Okay.
okay.
Right now
Um,
I have her at three, and I have her sandwich. I know you're not gonna. I have her sandwich between probably Erica and then I probably go Marianne in that four spot.
Interesting. Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
They're
Um,
very different games. They are very different
Well,
games.
absolutely, absolutely.
But I will say D is my number one, and I don't think that's much of a question because
Let me write this
the
down.
yeah.
Let me write this down. We're getting a
Go
business.
ahead. Start writing.
yeah, write it down.
Um, and I'll be honest, I kind of have D in a tier of her own. And again, maybe it's the cast she had, what have you. She had everybody basically working with her. She kind of she wasn't. I can't think of a moment. Maybe I'm missing something where it was like, oh, D isn't at real risk of going home here. Where their players are really like, we need to get D out, and they actually have the numbers to do it. So D gets a lot of credit in my book for that. Erica editing, I think, um, she was under edited obviously incredibly. From the Shan vote on, had a lot of control of the game. Got what she wanted, got to the end with people she knew she could beat very, very clearly. Um, and I think also going to exile when she did. Yeah, listen, it was great that her tribe won immunity at the beginning, although Sydney probably would have gone home over hers, what everyone has said. Her going to exile sure is an advantage in that she has flips a coin basically and saves herself. But then also the whole time is like everyone's like, well, she's the one person who's gone, so we have to talk about getting rid of her. And she made a move which people understood, but then like automatically pissed half of them off. And for her to get out of that and not really be a big target at any point, I give her a lot of credit. And then I get to Rachel. I think played a really strong, dominant game that people knew. That's my argument for and against Rachel. She played such a dominant game, but everybody knew it was such a dominant game. And then
Yeah.
I'd probably go Marianne, Jam Jam, Kenzie, Gabler, I think is my order down there.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Hit
I
me.
have each winner ranked 1 through 7, and I put a word association next to both of
Ooh,
each of
love
them.
this.
And that's all I'm gonna do for the sake of the pod.
I
Um,
love it.
Give me about 30 seconds, and we'll be there. So someone fill
All
the
right.
space.
So I'll say mine. So first I'll say where it's sandwiched in between, and then I'll give my list. So
Okay.
even though I keep shitting on Rachel's game, like I said, I don't think many of the new era winners are top tier winners. I think they're bottom half. So I actually do have Rachel at my number 3 slot. I have her sandwiched in between Jam Jam and Marianne.
Okay.
I have D as number 1, Jam Jam number 2, then Rachel, Marianne, Gabler, Kenzie, Erica.
Wow.
You're gonna
This
piss
is
them off.
delusional. The
I'm gonna
Erica
play. I'm gonna play.
disrespect.
I truly think that Xander and Deshaun played better games than
Oh
Erica.
my
I
God. Oh
I
my
I
God.
mean, we didn't really get a great
I've
edit of Erica,
I've
which is
never seen
upsetting,
I've
but
never seen someone fall for an edit so hard. I thought you were smart, Steven.
I don't know.
You're
Xander,
not gonna like
I thought I
mine.
got robbed. I will
I
always
talked to
give him.
Xander about it, and Erica was not given the love that she deserved.
I agree. I don't think
And and,
Erica was given the love she deserved. I
and
just
with
don't
I'm
think that
honestly amazed,
she deserved to win that season.
and I'm amazed Rachel wasn't as under-edited as Erica was. I think they've started to learn. I hope they've started to learn how to edit their women winners a bit better.
They
I,
definitely have. They've been editing
I mean,
their winners
Kenzie's
really
edit was
well.
okay.
I think Kenzie had actually like a very
Kenzie
viable.
had a good edit.
A good edit.
I think Kenzie had a great edit for the
I
game
think
she played. She did not deserve to win at all. And but
Okay.
they made it so that people understood Kenzie's win because they
mm,
really pushed hard on her social game because that is
Yeah.
all she had.
It was a damn good one,
so
though.
I've got mine, one through
Okay.
seven.
Let's go.
Number
Let's hear
one,
it.
Rachel Lamont,
Ah.
Rachel, the mother.
I
and we're
did love meeting her though. She is so sweet. I loved meeting
Uh,
her in person and talking to her. She was so much fun to hang out with when I was at the watch party. And I got a great picture with her. So,
Rachel. I wrote adaptation.
it's a good
okay.
one.
Okay. Number two, I have D, and I wrote stealth.
Stealth
Okay.
or us.
Yep.
Trying to come up with words right now.
Three, I have Jam Jam, and I have finesse.
Finesse. Love it. And all right, so you got the same general top 3 as me.
Marianne,
Okay.
I have redemption.
Okay.
Redemption. Okay.
Yes, she very much redeemed herself as the season went on, socially out of the loop on her original tribe, was able to work from the bottom, surprise people at the end,
hmm
and had a killer final tribal compared to Mike's horrid
Oh,
final.
so bad. What's
That one
crazy
hurts
is
me.
And they
most
were going
people were
into that
going,
final tribal voting for Mike.
they were all going to, there was going to be at least a 5-3 vote, maybe even more onto Mike that, and then almost all of them got swayed. And it's hard to sway someone going into final tribal. You have to do either really bad, your opponent needs to do really bad, or you have to do really good. And both happened for Marianne. So,
Five, I have Gabler,
yep. Okay. All right. So we
and I
probably
write,
have the
and I
same
wrote,
list.
I wrote balanced. Okay,
Okay.
goofy enough to not be taken seriously, but also a lot more smarter than people wanted to give credit for, and
Yeah.
played his own game that was very balanced. Okay. Six, I have Erica, I wrote Lion, if
Well,
anyone remembers. Okay.
yeah. Lion.
Okay.
Last but not least, Kenzie. And I wrote Home because she is someone who, out of all seven people, I might have her at the end. She's the one I'd want to hang out with the most. But the word association that represents her game would definitely be home. People found her homey, found her comforting. People liked her. And in this case, they voted for the person that they liked more.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm keep going back and forth on if I want Kenzie last or Erica last. I really am
Right.
so hung up on Charlie losing that I
Uh,
Kenzie
I,
needs
I,
to be bottom.
I think you guys are the Erica disrespect. My Bible says I started doing word association really quickly. I just went DA when I was dominant. I think that's
Yeah.
fair. Erica to me is sneaky.
Yeah, she was. In a good way.
And yeah, no, in a very good way. And I think sneaky to the players there, what she was capable of, but sneaky to us, maybe just because we didn't really see it a ton.
Yeah.
Her,
And that's not her
her,
fault.
no, it's not her fault at all. And I think trying to take that into account, like I use my logic of when were they in a position of going home that they may have either had to win something, find the night, or maybe just got lucky with. D and Eric, I don't find moments where they're like, oh, they were really at risk of going home. That were true. Every time Erica was theoretically at risk, that was Yeti giving us some bullshit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Players have confirmed that. It's not just me. Because I originally had her lower. Um, and I will say, Rachel, you got exactly on the money. I think she adaptable is the perfect way to describe her game. It really is good. So give you some kudos there.
Yeah, man. Well,
What
I can't believe we've had 7 seasons of this new game.
it really
Right.
is interesting. But let me ask it this way.
Mhm.
Say we put these seven on so many and a bunch like 10,000 random seasons. We just say go.
I love this question. Yeah.
Rank either. Well, I guess rank them if you can. If not, at least be like. I'll start with Rachel. How does Rachel do? You think on average?
Um,
I think that's the thing. I think she um will learn from this season, and I think well, you mean like if nobody knows who she is, or now
If no,
people
yeah.
like
Let's say she never plays Survivor. Like knowing what you know about like the way she would play, and she's put with a bunch of random people again, and like how many times basically I'm saying how much of her game is related to the cast that she had and circumstances, or is it that she's just a really good player? I'll give you like a Kim Spradlin, I think played a great game. Kim wins a bunch of seasons.
I feel like this
well,
Rachel won the
that's the way to
season.
phrase it. It's, out of all 7 of these people, if they each played 100 times, who would win the most?
Yeah, that's basically what
Right,
I'm
pretty
trying to
much
say.
like that.
Yeah.
I think Rachel, if she played like 100 times, let's say, I truly think that this would have been one of her bottom 50 played seasons, and she still won. I think Rachel is a great player. I just think she peaked too early, and that is a mistake. But I think that the way she played the game, if she didn't peak so early, I think she has the social skills and the strategic skills to perform well. I think she can be in the majority because she has a good way of connecting with people. Um, I just think um, she was just put in rough positions throughout the season to be seen as a threat. I could see Rachel doing pretty well in other seasons, to be honest. I think she's likable. I think she knows the game really well.
Pat,
And
what about
she
you?
can win immunity challenges.
Yeah.
I truly think out of all 7 of these people, Rachel wins the most games out of all
Interesting.
of them. And I say, because imagine, like, Gabler plays 100 games, he's probably first boot 20 times.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Gabler
No.
definitely that was one of
Um,
his top tier games.
Jam Jam's not winning a lot of games.
That I disagree with you on actually.
I
I'm gonna push back on the Jam Jam.
Yeah, yeah.
I also
I would
agree with
actually have to
you.
give it to Rachel or Erica, probably.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Finally, we're getting some America love.
I
I think
think that
I
Kenzie played a terrible game that she won, but I think that if she was put on the island 100 times, she would have a good chance of winning. a lot of times.
Like
I
Rachel and
think
D make the
she
Rachel D and probably Erica probably make the merge every single time that they play.
Rachel,
Yeah,
D, and
I think you're
Erica.
right. D maybe not. D maybe not.
I could
D had an
totally see
alliance.
Erica being early boots.
I can't see Erica being an early boot. I really.
She was. I thought she was gonna be.
We all thought she was. Apparently,
Oh,
Sydney
until
was the.
Nasir fucked that up.
Sydney was the apparent according to everybody on that tribe. Sydney was the boot. Had they
Really?
gone to tribal,
Weren't they
yes,
trying to throw it to take Erica out?
that was all editing.
That doesn't
That was
shock me.
all the edit trying to sell us something so we knew who the winner was. Because if they don't sell us that, they literally don't mention the winner.
Yeah,
And the
but
whole
I know it's editing, but they still said it in their confessionals.
like
It
the
hasn't
real
changed.
had they gone to tribal, apparently like maybe they threw out Erica's name. The real thought was getting rid of Sydney.
That's
Interesting.
surprising. I thought she
But
was gonna.
Sydney's a bit more abrasive, so I can see it. That I can see.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna say this. I think Rachel might be my number one actually with that. If we're looking at random games, I think Rachel's up there.
yeah.
I
Rachel and Kenzie for me.
I can't put Kenzie that high, because I think Kenzie's going far the most. I really think Kenzie's going far a lot. I don't know if Kenzie's winning a lot, but I think I want to give more love to Jam Jam with this. And maybe this is bias having met him. Like you can't meet Jam Jam and not like him.
No,
That's
I could
why
see.
he would not
And
win
that,
most seasons.
but here's what I'll say. I think that is something that early on can get you such a foothold. People liking you and people laughing from you. Jam Jam makes people laugh so much that you're like, oh, I don't want to get rid of this guy. And I think as long as he can get his foot in the door and really start having alliances and managing them, I think he goes far. So I'd probably go Rachel, Erica, Jam Jam, and then I throw D, I think, and then Kenzie, Marianne Gabler.
I agree with your bottom three.
I'd probably go Rachel, Kenzie, uh, D, Jam Jam, Erica, Marianne, Gabler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Gabler's win was like such an anomaly.
Yeah, that was such an anomaly.
I
Gabler's
love
win was
Gabler. Out of all those people, I'd probably want to play with Gabler the most.
Uh-huh. We love Gabler.
oh
Gabler is the survivor of the Tribal Lines podcast.
No, that's facts.
just wait till I'm on the show, then you can have that one. Uh, yeah, what's funny is I think I've literally met everyone here except Erica and Kenzie at this point, and it's like, I mean, Gabler just one I would want to play Gabler, but I'm like, his game is so wacky that I literally had to check the wiki when he won to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I was like, he won.
Yeah,
This guy
you just got
who in
Gabler.
his this guy who in his pregame questionnaire, I vividly remember this, was asked, "Why do you think you'll win Survivor?" Do
Yes,
you remember? Wait. Do
I
you
made
guys
sure
know?
I said this on the podcast so many times.
Steven, you know what his answer is. Pat, do you know what his answer to that question was?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes. Thank you. He answered one fucking word, and the answer was yes to a why.
Why do you
And you're a
think you'll win
doctor. He's
Survivor?
supposed to be
Yes.
smart. And then the minute he did that, I was like, this guy is a bumbling
Because
idiot.
Gabler said, "Fuck the pre-interviews. I'm here to Gabler. Okay, I'm here to be the alligabler. I want the things to
What?
even think I'm stupid."
And no, and
He got me. He got me. He got me.
I asked him that question. I asked him why he said that on his application,
Question.
and he said that it was intentional. He asked his wife, I think, what he should say for that answer, and then she was just like you're just gonna win. Like that's all I can say. It was like, you're right. It's like I'm just gonna put yeah.
Just wait for my answer. My answer is literally just gonna be I'm not.
I think I'm remembering that right. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that he did say it was intentional. He did not misread the question. He specifically wanted to put yes
I
to
kind
stand
of
out and also just say like
okay.
I'm just winning.
Gabler is the ultimate troll, but I'm here for it. I'm here for that.
Now I want to drink a beer with Gabler.
No, me too.
I have drank a beer with Gabler,
All right, don't
and
rub it
it's amazing.
No, he's a fun guy to hang out with. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for
But
sure. So I am absolutely loving this talk about all the winners of the new era, but I did have some questions regarding the episode that I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, One is all the way back in the beginning of finale part one, and that is how did Teeny fall for that it was not planned, that Andy just voted Caroline in the Operation Italy plan, just voted him, came up with the plan on the way to tribal, being like, you know what? Like, I know they're voting Caroline. Like, I might as well just vote Caroline to get Caroline and Sue out. And Teeny thought that they had not planned it together. And
Teeny's
I don't know. I just think
I'll
that's
answer.
crazy, and I wanted to hear what your thoughts were.
It is crazy, and I think, and again, not being in the head of somebody who's been out there for 20, what, 3 days at that point, 21 days, not eating all that stuff. I think the way Tini was playing, were they were trusting pretty much everybody. Because I think sometimes you can play Survivor, and when you don't know what to do, your default is either I'm going to trust exactly what they say, or I'm going to trust nothing that they say, and like go with that for anybody. And I think Tina's the type of person where they go, if I go with the point that I'm trusting nobody and I believe what nobody is telling me, then they might be spiraling even more. So let me just go with the I'm gonna believe what I'm being told because I have some semblance of relationship with them. And then at least from there, without probably having the critical thinking skills that you would normally have being home, be like, how can I maneuver this? And I would say this, when you're out there, like even playing like these like allergies that we have played, there are times like I can imagine, like if you're tired, you're not 100%, you're like, what are you saying? Okay. And then figure out how can I manage that information before discerning is that true or not? So, and also, Teeny's 23 when they're playing.
23, getting
I,
drunk whenever there is alcohol nearby.
let's be real. Teeny's name like indicates lightweight as much as I love them. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like I Teeny is somebody, and I really would want to see what you guys think. I want to see how Teeny plays when they're 10 years older. Get me a 30-year-old Teeny, watch out, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I
Uh, yeah.
really think like, and I think it's why some of the better players are the ones like in their usually younger 30s because they're young enough that they can fit in with everybody, but they're old enough that they have that life experience and can really like I want to say think more really they've just been through more.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Teeny at that point in the game was looking for some truth to latch onto.
Yeah.
And we clearly saw it in the edit. I think Teeny thought that she had some higher winning stock than actually, and maybe was thought that they were in more than they actually were.
Mhm.
You're trying to, and you're in the end game, you're trying to latch on to any truth to get yourself to the
100%.
end. And if you feel like you're being looped into something that's bigger, right? Then you might want to, and it comes down to what Alex said, Teeny's 23. Teeny was a little too trustworthy, and she,
A little.
yeah, and they got burnt a few times as a result of that. And I think it's, how many times are going to get burnt before something goes right? And I think that that was Teeny opening the door to maybe seeing something that was right. Um, this is what I'll say about Teeny too. I agree. See Teeny at 30 years old and Teeny wins the game. Teeny is a social force. I think that's where they pride themselves, obviously. Um, and I think, if they had a little bit more strategic prowess, then they could have been a much more dangerous player. But I think Teeny is the perfect because okay, say what you will about Andy being super entertaining, Genevieve being, Genevieve, Rachel being Rachel, Sam being fun, charismatic, all those cool things. Teeny is the one out of that season that I'm most interested to see play again because I think Teeny is
1,000%.
someone that can learn from that first time around and really 360 their game.
Yeah,
Something
I do believe that.
something I appreciate about Teeny, even though they're like 23 and young and like their game was flawed, the self-awareness. I think Teeny has a level of self-awareness that not a lot of other people, not to the extent that not a lot of other people have. Knows, I think Teeny, you ask them right now, and I've heard them tell in interviews, can pinpoint exactly where their strengths were, where their weaknesses were to a T.
Yeah.
And knowing that, and then now would go out there knowing not only what their strengths and weaknesses are, which they knew pretty much before the game, knows how to handle that. Be like, okay, here's what I did well, and here's where it got me in trouble. Here's what I didn't do well, like maybe getting a little emotional, and here's how I know to handle it better. And I think that's something really, really interesting. And sis, having met Teeny before the season, that was like Teeny and I probably in a lot of ways could not be more different. And we met a couple times just randomly, like at these parties. Instantly, I was like, oh, this person's great. Like instantly, I was like, wow. It really is amazing when you think like how Teeny can manage to connect with everybody about something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'll give her some. Honestly, her and Sue, I was a little like worried about. I was like those are two that are like so polar opposites, so different generation, different like personality types, politically likely very different, all those things. And Sue loves Teeny, and Sue absolutely loves Teeny. I'm like, you know, credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Talk about go ahead, Steve, but after I want to talk about Sue a little bit.
Let's give
okay.
her some love. I love Sue.
Yeah, I definitely want to give her some love. Something I do want to talk about to close out the final six round is probably the biggest thing that happened this round, which caused Andy to go home. We had first Rachel telling Andy that there was no way he was going to win. The jury doesn't respect his game. He's a nothing burger. And trying to get him to vote for Sam instead of Rachel because she's trying to pitch that he'll have an easier chance beating Rachel than Sam. And then he realizes, no, I do need to vote out Rachel, but if the jury is feeling this way and Rachel is feeling this way about him, maybe on her way out, explain his game so that now Rachel can tell the jury what his game is and have them not think of him as the goat that he currently is being thought of. Do you guys, and then because of this, he ended up getting voted out because he pitched his game to Rachel so well that she realized it was even better than Sam's game. Um, what do you guys think? What was this, regardless of what actually ended up happening, was this a good move by Andy, or were you like, I can't believe Andy just did this. This makes no sense for him.
No, it's stupid every way you chalk it up. You do not ever when you're unless you're at final tribal council, you do not talk about all of the good parts of your game, even if you feel like you're being perceived as a goat, because all it does is make you more threatening in that moment. Like that's all that does. Whether Rachel believes it, whether she doesn't or not, it shows that he's thinking a little bit more critically than people were giving him credit for. And I just think it's stupid because all you're doing is talking yourself out of the game. All you're doing is giving Rachel ammunition to take you out. Because if all these things are true, I don't want to sit next to that. This is the guy on day one who threw his number one ally under the bus and had a panic attack and was able to fight all the way to the end. And now I heard all these behind the scene moves that he's gloating about. Andy's a likable guy. Andy, no doubt in my mind, would have been very articulate at Final Tribal Council. All you're doing is highlighting the things that people might know a bit of, and now you're just giving them more reasons to take you out. I think it was incredibly dumb, and it's
I So I actually am probably one of the few people who think that this was a necessary move by Andy and he just got screwed by an idol. I do
oh,
think if I had to say the negative part about this is that how the hell did he not know that Rachel had an idol? Not because Rachel did not say anything, but if you truly think about him being a super fan of Survivor and you kind of understand the ideas of the number of idols in the game. Um, you know that you don't have an idol. You know that Sam doesn't have an idol, or else he would have brought it out to make a big move. And you know that Genevieve doesn't have an idol because Genevieve has a fake. So that means that you know that either Teeny, Rachel, or Sue has at least one idol. How do you not take that 33% chance that Rachel has an idol and not spill your game to her? So that is what I think it was stupid about Andy's move, that you should have at least understood that Teeny Sue or Rachel had an idol, like logically, unless you think that every idol was played, but it wasn't because there was only one idol I think played pre-merge and nothing post-merge. So I think that was stupid on his part, not realize Rachel could have had an idol. But I do think it was necessary for him to do because if he's constantly hearing round after round after round that the jury and everyone in the game doesn't respect his game and that he's not going to win and that everyone's dragging him to the end, I think he will have an amazing final tribal, but going into final tribal, nobody will think he has a chance at winning. And with the people that were left in the game, Genevieve, Rachel, and Sam, all being people who, if they made it to the end with Andy, were going to already be seen as a big threat, it would be very difficult for Andy to win over the jury and completely flip them when they expect him to be a zero vote finalist. So I think even though he got screwed over and got out at final six, if Rachel chose not to um, take out Andy and took out Sam, and then Andy got to the finals, he would have a much better chance of winning than if he said nothing to Rachel and everyone just thought of him as a goat going into final tribal against somebody who has been a threat for many rounds, such as Sam or Genevieve or Rachel. So I think it was a smart Hail Mary type thing because he already wasn't going to win if he made it to the end. So might as well like have people in the jury know that he's actually playing a good game rather than everyone thinking he's not going to win the game no matter what.
A couple things to what you guys both said. One, the fact that none of them were even considering that Rachel might have an idol,
Is crazy.
or at least what's you know, even if you don't think someone has an idol, you think there's zero. What's a contingency plan? Do
Right.
we have an option if Rachel has an idol? Knowing how good Rachel is, maybe Rachel. Just I don't know. Okay, fine.
I think that's
Even with
crazy
that,
too because
e-
it was final six and they
eh,
had the
eh,
majority four. They could have split it 2-2-2.
oh yeah, there's no reason for that whole group. Whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless, even with that, and I will also give Rachel credit of the shot in the dark being out of the game. Andy, I think, is in a position where, yeah, he's 31, but he's perceived out there as being younger. And I've said it before, you can lose the game on day one, you really can't win it. I think Andy almost like did what he could to lose the game on day one, not deliberately, but panic attack and all that. They're taking him less seriously. You're treating him as a younger guy that you kind of almost have to take care of. And yes, he's grown, but in that their perception of him is still like young guy. Like when he did Operation Italy, they're like just Andy. Oh, Andy flipped. It wasn't Andy made a move. It was well, Andy flip flopped again.
Yeah.
And so I think I see where he is coming from in that he needs to plant seeds to give him credit if he makes it to the end. Because playing a game like him, you're not going to Final Three. People thinking you have no shot, you did nothing, explaining it all. You're not gonna have like 3 4 hours like we said.
Mhm.
But there is a difference between planting seeds and trying to beat everyone over the head with a shovel, saying I played a great game. Look, that's what's stupid, and Andy knows better. Andy is so smart that he knows better. But I think when you got so close to the end, we're at what, day 23 at that point?
Something
You're
like that.
running out of time. You're running out of time to pitch to Rachel and to pitch to the jury. I, I don't fully know how. I'll be honest. I don't fully know how. But he needs to be in the game, planting seeds to everybody, reminding them of the agency that he has. Reminding them the agency that he has, but not beating them over the head with it. Showing how, look, I can use this agency to help you. And then when they're gone, people are like, oh yeah, Andy was in control of this. Andy knew this was going on, and so on. Telling everybody, and telling Rachel especially, oh yeah, here's every good thing I did because you're going home. When I one, it just looked transactional. You could see a mile away that that was what was deliberately happening, and already there, it looks like Andy, what the hell are you doing? And then on top of it, just the execution just did not
Well,
work.
the
I
thing
love
is,
Andy, but yeah, you got to do something. But planting seeds is what you really need to do.
I don't know. If you you have to be very careful about planting seeds because even if the littlest seed that you're planting with people during the game could then make you now be considered a threat and possibly voted out.
I
If there was no idle play, he was never going to go home from a majority vote.
well,
So I think that especially talking to Rachel specifically, because he didn't tell everyone. He just only told Rachel, like maybe like an hour or so or less, probably before tribal council. And Rachel, being the threat that she is, and the social player that she was, and the relationship she has on the jury, if she's on the jury, probably will have the most agency at Ponderosa. And I think that she'll be able to really sway a lot of people one way or another, possibly. So if she goes into the jury after just telling Andy, hey, if you make it to the end, there's no chance you win, and she's going in with that mentality to Ponderosa, no one is everyone's even going to double down on the fact that Andy
Yeah.
will win. So
So so who wins?
That goes back further, I think, to the way he was playing the game. Because I'm sorry, like there's a level. Yeah, Rachel would have a lot of respect on the jury, and they would go with her. But there are what, six jurors there before her, or five or six. If they're all thinking something and they've been there for days and they're talking to each other, it is, in my opinion, really tough to get a big group like that to all flip and be like, "Oh, I was wrong the entire time."
it's really not Survivor fans that don't actually know what's going on in the game until a jury member, until
You
somebody
know,
who's voted out comes back and gives
yes,
all the
but there's a
information.
level of I think jurors would be like, and especially when you have that many. And you like, all right, Sierra comes in, you have Sierra, Saul, Gabe, Kyle, they're all Caroline, they're all selling you the same story, relatively similar, same story. And it all makes sense. And you're like, okay, you're having your opinions, who's running things, who's not. Rachel comes in and basically is trying to sell you a completely different story days before Final Travel. You're like, well, how is everything I heard
Well,
from
it's
these other
because
people
Andy was
all
doing so
wrong?
good at hiding it, which it makes it even more
Yes, but
so
you've got to
that people
be.
would want to flip.
Well, it's kind of like
That's a.
Gabler.
It's kind of like Gabler, yeah,
Jesse
exactly.
and Cody came in and they kind of
They
They
and
really
talked him
helped
up.
Gabler's chances of winning,
yeah,
100%.
I
They
mean,
definitely helped. I'm not saying that they wouldn't help,
yeah.
but if Gabler had zero chance beforehand, it wasn't at all taken seriously, and like he already had the thing of he didn't get any votes, and like I think some of them took him at least a little bit seriously. If he
Maybe a
Yeah,
little bit, but they
He
also
needed
took Andy
Jesse
a
and
little
Cody.
bit seriously. They took Sue not serious at all, but maybe Andy a little bit. But probably, but I also
Well,
agree
that
with Gabler wasn't taken very seriously until Cody came into the jury and talked about his alliances with Gabler either. Same with Jesse.
Yeah. But I think that's something like that almost happened organically. Gabler didn't have to be like, Cody, here's how I play the game of Survivor. Just so you know.
yeah, no, that
If Rachel was
That
like
is a good point. That is a good point.
If Rachel was like Andy's ally throughout and really saw it, and I'm sorry, put it, if you're playing Survivor and you need I can't tell a little bit about your game. If I need to be explained everything you did while playing with you for 23 days, something's wrong. Either you're telling me something, either you're full of shit, or you're hype, or something else happened.
Well,
Like
the thing
I don't
is,
know if I
Andy
would.
and Rachel didn't really play together most of the game, other
But
than like one or two votes
the
where
fact that they were on the same beach together for 23 days, where you have nothing to talk about,
well
like you'd have to see something.
that
Even if
poses
it's
the
just
they're
question of
definitely keeping up like a social relationship, talking about like stuff in their life or whatever, just to keep conversation. But like, if you're not working with someone, you're not going to talk strategically with them, so they're going to have a tough time understanding your game compared to other people who have worked with you for longer. I
but
think
yes, but
Freedom understood Andy's game a lot more than anyone else.
yeah, but also when people when everybody's talking, at least to an extent, if you're not hearing Andy from anybody of like, oh, Andy's like, you either really liking Andy or really hating Andy or this or that, you're like, I'm not hearing about him at all. This guy must just kind of be useless. So
yeah.
it's a, it's a tough balance strike. It is really a tough balance, and I think later that Andy went, I think you have to almost go for broke. I get the going for broke of being like, I need to make myself a bigger threat right now, and even if it means I go home at five, I'd rather go home at five than lose it final tribal. Fine, I understand that, but there's a way of going about it that I think Andy would know next time around. I need to be a little more delicate, a little more careful, cover my bases.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
So
what were you gonna say, Pat?
does Sam does Sam win a Sam Andy Sue final three?
yes, I don't think that's a question.
I don't know. I think if Rachel's there, I think Rachel could help Andy's case
I think
I
Rachel's
do
almost
think
helping.
that it would be close because I do think Sam has been seen as a threat already and had an amazing final tribal. But I also think Andy would have an amazing final tribal.
I
I
think
think
Andy would
Sam's
have,
final tribal looks different next to Andy than it did with
it does, and here's the thing. Andy's best move in the game, Operation Italy, is already not, I don't want to say nullified, but it loses a lot of juice having Sam there next to you.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it
They needed
for him.
Sam, and
Yes,
Andy's the one who brought up the
and
plan.
I think and Sam is smart enough to be like, you don't make this, you don't, if you don't have me, this move doesn't happen. You needed me from the beginning of the game, and I think Sam
It
could
was
really
the
go off
opposite. Like Sam needed Andy.
at the beginning. At the beginning, Andy needed Sam, and I think Sam could pitch it like that and be like, let's go through the beginning of the game. You needed me, you hung on for dealing, and then okay, you did this, and but operationally does not happen without me. And I think Genevieve is somebody we saw the relationship Genevieve and Sam had, and we see it even more after the show. I think that that actually, I don't want to say it helps Andy as much as it helps Sam as much as it helps Andy. But Andy being there against Sam or Genevieve, I think hurts his chances dramatically, at least with that move. Because yeah, because they're already more likely to believe Sam than Andy, just given the perceptions from the way the game began.
But Genevieve was there too, even though Genevieve is going to be rooting for Sam because they were on the bottom together and playing together for most of the merge. Um, I do think Genevieve will be truthful in the fact that Andy brought up this plan to us. I don't think she's just going to be like, "Oh, Sam is my best friend. I'm going to help him win."
Yeah,
I think
yes,
Genevieve's going to be like, "I love this game so much. I want everything to be fair." Andy did come up with it, but Sam
yeah,
but we all played our parts. I think she would say like Andy came up with it, but we all had parts we had to play, and we all did great acting, and we all fooled you. I think that's how
yeah.
Genevieve would word it.
I think it's somewhere in the middle, but fair. A question I do have for you guys about actually the vote that sent Andy home.
Okay.
Random little detail. So Rachel blocked Sam's vote in that instance.
Hmm.
Why on earth would he be allowed to play an extra vote? It was said
Um,
that an extra vote, if Sam had an extra vote, he could have played it there and voted. I don't understand that for the life of me, given that way we've played Shot in the Dark, where if you don't have a vote, you can't risk your vote.
uh,
And it was on the parchment right there saying basically, your vote is blocked unless you have an extra vote, go back to your seat.
hmm.
not sure.
I think it could be because, um, hmm.
It's tough. It's like that, and then the whole tie vote situation, the way
I think it's
both
if
things have made no
losing your
sense to
vote
me.
ahead of time is what I would put more like that in terms of not the shot in the dark, because shot in the dark is your choice to give up your vote. So I understand not being able to play your extra vote there.
But if,
But like
but if
like if you lose your vote one like time, like you should be able to, I guess, wait, if you lose your vote from like something prior to tribal council that everybody knows about.
it does not matter, you can't play your shot in the dark. If you
No,
have
I
no
know, but
vote to
I
risk,
know, but like, do you walk up to the podium? Because then
yes,
maybe you still do.
they always have him walk up. It's weird. They always have him walk up.
Okay, so then I don't know. I feel like you bring up a great point. I feel like you should be able to use your extra vote all the time unless you are playing a shot in the dark. Because then I don't think you should be able to. But I think if your vote is blocked, then you can't go up and vote. But I think if your vote is blocked secretly, like Sam's was, I understand being able to use your extra vote. The thing I'm not understanding is why, if somebody loses their vote before tribal council,
Like at the auction, for example. I'm trying to remember who lost their vote at the auction.
right? Oh, I think I understand. I think it's like if you know that you lost your vote going into tribal council, then it's okay. But if you are secretly getting then then you
I
can't play your
just
extra vote because you know that you're not going to be able to. But if you're under the impression you're going to be able to play your extra vote and then you get your vote blocked, I guess I understand being able to play it. But you're right. It's kind of like makes no sense. I feel like they should stick to either you can use your extra vote or you can't. I don't know why there's certain situations you can and certain situations you can't.
Well, if you want to get technical with the wording, it's steal a vote. He had 2 votes. Like if he had the extra vote with him already.
Wait, what do you mean? No, I mean
Oh
she
no, like this
blocked
is a
his vote.
DACA vote.
She just blocked it. She didn't take his
Oh,
vote.
oh, okay, right. Block a vote. But
So
yeah,
his power to vote was blocked. He went up with the same thing of you don't have a vote. You cannot vote. For whatever reason, you lost the power in the game to vote. But like, and I don't think he would have been
Yeah,
able allowed to play a
maybe
shot
that's
because I don't
why
think
that is because if you lose
because
your vote, you lose your voting power.
yeah,
But
but
if you
then
get your vote blocked, you just that one vote
that
is
just
blocked.
that
That's
just feels
probably it.
so finicky and like stretching for something. Because what if the Rachel move didn't happen if we had all the shots in the dark in play at that point? Just what if? Could Sam use the shot in the dark? I don't think so. If he could,
Um,
then really shit makes no
no,
sense.
no, no, no. He wouldn't be able to use the shot in the dark.
What if he uses his extra vote and says, "I'm going to give up that vote. Here's my extra vote. Let me now use my shot in the dark. You can take that." And it goes,
I think the rule must be in the fine print that your original vote you need to give
uh,
back. I
this
think that's
feels,
what it is.
I,
yeah, it gets a little
That
hairy.
does
gets
get a little
it's
interesting.
that and the tie vote that feels so murky. Like, why do we allow votes in a three three
The
three in
tie
the
vote
past?
thing that was stupid. A lot of controversy on that, I know, in the Survivor community.
All right. So yeah, that I literally the beauty of rewatching is that I like paused it. I was like, wait, that looks weird. And yeah, I just
Yeah,
never understood
there's a
that.
lot of situations in Survivor where you're curious how it would be handled during the time. And I think that some things have such a low probability of happening that Survivor producers don't necessarily have a set fix for it. And I think that if a situation arose where they needed to deal with it, they would probably make the tribal council last much longer than normal and talk with production for an hour and try to figure out what's the best thing to do. Um,
Oh man.
uh, and maybe these are some of those situations. Um, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I think it's kind of interesting to understand when you can use the extra vote and when you can't, and the whole shot in the dark of it all. I need to see the exact words on the paper and like be able to talk to a production member. I don't think we'll ever get to, maybe we will, but if we could interview a production member from Survivor on this podcast, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, keep dreaming. They keep that shit tight knit.
They keep it really tight, so I know
Just,
that's not going to happen because Jeff
just,
didn't even talk about it when he gets asked about it, but
yeah, no, it is. It's such an interesting.
we just have to be on the island and have one of these crazy situations happen and just find out for ourselves. All right.
Yeah, it is. Let's see if I can find the wording really quickly. But
Yeah, but
oh,
while you're looking,
I actually found it.
oh, you did. Okay.
Here's the quote: "Your vote tonight has been blocked. So unless you have an extra vote, return to your seat."
Oh no, I mean like what's the wording on like the
On
shot
her
in the dark
advantage. Okay, that's a
and
different.
the shot in the dark, her advantage. What's
Yeah,
the wording when you find out you lost your vote from like a journey or something, like stuff like that.
yeah.
Like
I don't have the Survivor rule book in front of me, unfortunately.
yeah, exactly.
But
Um,
I can I just say
it's
Rachel's
also like
line.
a season by season basis. Jeff kind of, if it's not like in the wording, Jeff kind of makes up his own rules
Yeah,
each season.
and can I just say Rachel's line there of I think the only thing better than attending your own funeral is knowing that you're going to wake up alive the next morning. That is a
That was a good
level.
one.
It was a good one from an entertainment perspective, but it's also something that just like is a natural ability to enhance your own game even more in the game. Like that's already like it's one thing if she just played the item was like I'm playing this, here you go, blah blah blah. But adding that line I think helped her game so much,
Yep.
and people were like, oh, she knew exactly what she was like. It really I think reinforces she knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, she didn't play the idol off a gut feeling. She played it off facts that she was
She's
able
like,
to obtain because she was able
yeah,
to
and
with her.
And she didn't even mention, apparently at Final Draw, she didn't even realize that her whole playing the shot in the dark as a gauge of whether player idol move. She's like, I didn't even think that was that good a move, so I didn't mention it. We're like, and over here we're like, how did you not mention that?
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just cut out of the.
No, she said I didn't mention it.
That's crazy.
She's like, I did not think of it, and I'm like, you didn't crazy. I mean, 26-day brain. I don't
Yeah,
know. And then
Yeah, that happened.
that
that is
that
crazy.
that's so crazy though. I'd be like that move. Like even if it wasn't her intention, to be like that was my like hopefully come up with like that was my intention. And that's why I also got all of you to get rid of your shot in the dark, so I could be the only one who played it.
Mhm.
Also, I just love this cast. Like, oh, we don't like this twist. We're just gonna get rid of it. Can we get rid of it, Jeff? Okay.
Right.
They engineered the twist they don't like out of the game.
That was funny. All right, so now we're saying goodbye to Andy and
Uh,
we're moving on to the final five where after in the final six we see Genevieve won immunity. Now we have Rachel in a do or die and she wins immunity, cannot be voted out. She would have been the one voted out in that situation. Quickly, I want to get your opinions on if Rachel lost, would Sue have played the idol on herself or Rachel?
ooh, because I think that vote. Well, let's say Genevieve doesn't win immunity. Well, let's look at this at two different scenarios.
Yeah,
Say Genevieve is
Sam, Genevieve, or Teeny. So
well.
assuming Sue and Rachel do not win immunity,
Well,
anyone else wins immunity.
I think it's different. I do think because I think if Genevieve doesn't win immunity, there is a debate of whether to get rid of Rachel or Genevieve. There is a debate. I don't know if it's a big one, but there's a debate.
Hmm.
If say Genevieve wins immunity, I think Rachel goes home, no question. Oh, I think Sue might play the idol for her.
Or does Sue like want to be like, oh, like I have the idol, like I'm scared they could
No,
be possibly lying to me, like
I
I
don't think Sue's
lasted
that kind of
this
player.
long.
Sue was willing to play the idol for Caroline, and even
That's a
and
great point.
had
That
to
I
be
didn't
so
think about
blindsided
that.
and realized. And Rachel kind of did a great job becoming that replacement. That I think Sue would have played the idol for Rachel, if Sue felt that she needed it.
I
But I'm
believe
really
so
here.
now too. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, if she was
So,
willing to
I
do it
think
for
what
Caroline.
happens there, if let's just say Genevieve wins immunity, Sue probably plays the idol on Rachel, and they probably vote for Sam.
Yeah.
man, this is interesting. Ugh.
Yeah.
Or actually, I wonder if Teeny possibly goes home because at
Ooh.
that point, if Genevieve or Sam win immunity, they're not going to tell other people that it's a fake idol. They're going to think it's real and say, I'm going to play the idol on whoever of the two of us don't have immunity. So that could then
Good point.
result in Teeny possibly being the vote.
Hmm.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I could
That's
see
so
why you could go
interesting.
down that rabbit hole forever.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know.
it's a fun.
It's kind of fun to think of these situations. Too bad
Uh,
we can't get
um,
all of these situations in a season.
oh my God, I would love like. I always want like the what if scenario for like life and some of things, but just for Survivor, I want to play like I wish there was just a way I could press buttons and be like, just change that one thing. What happens differently?
Well, it's like one of those things. Like you roll out this same cast and they play again.
Oh,
What does that look
Mhm.
like?
You
this
know
is
what
a
would be
cast I
cool?
want to see
You know
play
how there's
again.
like those movies or TV shows that
The Choose Your Own Adventure.
like yeah, choose your own adventure
Uh,
type ones where you choose one or the other and then you can go through the whole TV series or movie choosing different scenarios and see how it plays out. Imagine
yeah.
if we did that for Survivor. That would be cool.
Imagine we do 47. We're like, all right, so what if Andy doesn't have the meltdown, gets himself sent home, and then John Lovett wins the game?
That's crazy. That would be fun.
Possible,
Yeah.
possible. Um,
So what do
but
we think about Sam telling Teeny that Genevieve's idol is actually fake? Two things. One, do you think that Genevieve should feel betrayed by Sam? Um, and two, can you believe that Sue still thinks it's a real idol?
when you're out there that long, and especially when you have somebody of Genevieve's stature from a threat level, yeah, I'd believe the idol's real. Absolutely, I would.
But from Sue's perspective, from everyone else's perspective, I understand. But from Sue's perspective, she has an idol. She knows that Rachel got the idol at the auction, And she apparently thinks that Genevieve got an idol at the reward. That
That
would
that
mean
that
that Survivor's introducing a third idol at the final seven. That has never been done before. That would be so crazy to add a third idol into
here's
the
what
game. I think for a
we
super fan,
we
that's ridiculous.
we have production that liked Advantage Geddon. I'm sorry, loved Advantage Geddon.
Yeah, but the advantages were all given earlier in the season
Yes,
and nobody used it.
yes, but I'm not gonna lie. From that and just the way production loves their twists and loves their idols and loves it, it wouldn't completely shock me. And when I'm out there and I'm not on, I'm just like, wait, there's another idol? Yeah, sure. Survivor loves it. Like it's not like a Jeff has never said there are too many idols, there are too many events. Never. He's never once said that. So I'd be like, they're trying something new. Here we go. So listen. I don't know if the pizza story is the best one to tell, but it's
All
an
right.
idea.
What do you think,
It's an
Scott?
idea. But I will say at the reward, I love Genevieve's confessional of just like let me just give Teeny more and more wine.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Here's the quote of just Genevieve being like, I should be thanking you, and then like goes like, I'll give you a refill. Um, but I actually I took all of Teeny's line in the middle of her confessional. It's just the best thing. Because I had a little red wine in my system, I told Sue that Genevieve is an idol, and instantly I'm just face palming myself. I revealed myself as the 23-year-old I am, and that I can't get a few drinks in me without spilling the secrets that are really, really important to people in the game. I just that was like the whole thing was like my favorite scene because TD is like, I fucked up telling a lie to Sue that Sue now believes, and Genevieve is like,
I wish
thank you.
that teeny confessional happened with her glass of wine in her hands still.
The Emily flipping of it all, yeah, that would have been
The
good.
Emily flipping, but like she's doing a confessional about how she let some information spill because of her getting drunk, and
I
she's still
I
getting drunk.
I can't lie. I think it's such an interesting thing on Survivor, where like you're out there for 20 something days, you haven't had much to eat. I'm sorry, like the idea of like getting a little wine drunk does sound nice. Maybe just take a little load off for a minute. But I also would be so worried that am I gonna fuck this up,
Uh-huh.
mess something up by spilling something that I'm like, oh, I might not want to drink it all. And
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel like when
Oh,
you're
I'd
out
go
there, you
fuck.
have when you have less food,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I mean, I
you're gonna
think
be more
that
of a lightweight.
strategically it's a terrible idea, but I know if I'm on Survivor and I am given alcohol, I'm so drinking it.
I
Like
prob
I'm
when
so
you're
getting drunk and trying to talk as little strategy as possible.
oh
If
my
I
God,
am
I think
trying
I
to
might
be
like
as
go
aware
and
as possible. I'm
if
not going to not drink just because I might spill secrets.
I don't know, it's so tough. And I feel like if I start drinking, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go run over into the ocean and never come out. Like, oh, where are you going? I'm just going over there. Bye. I
Yeah,
just
well,
dig a hole.
that's what
Like,
I
I
would
can't
say,
tell you
Steve.
anything.
I would just like drink a fuck ton and just like run away and take a nap. But
Be like, I can't tell you the secret. I'd be like I can't tell like what secret? I can't tell you.
Well, the
yeah,
I
thing is,
like
can't t
what the way I would do it is
and then
I
you
would
wake
get drunk and then, but I would make sure to only surround myself with my allies and use that drunkenness to further explain how loyal I am to them. And they're going to be like, "Oh, damn, like he's good, really with us." We're like, "Oh,
um
I love our alliance. Like we're going to the end. We're going to the end." That's 100%
Steve
what
and
I
I
I would
mean,
worry
do.
you be Steve and I having seen you drunk before, I feel like you would be like trying to be buddy buddy with everybody. And then you would
100%.
just be like, you go to your mortal, good, right? Yeah. Just so you know,
File two with you. File two with you.
I got an idol and you're going home next. And like, wait, what?
yeah, you
Yeah,
just
right.
you turn into Russell and you make like 14 final twos.
Oh, that'd be
Turn
great.
into Swati.
Oh my God. Yeah, but no, I mean to answer your question, Steve,
Yeah.
if I can remember it. As
Yeah,
far as
what was your
like
question?
So it's should Genevieve feel betrayed by Sam for spilling that she has a fake idol? And do you understand why Sue actually thought it was a real idol, or should she have obviously realized it was fake based on the number of idols?
uh the second one's that's just a toss up. But for would Genevieve or should she feel betrayed? Sure, you can, but you have to
It's
respect because honestly, at the same time, it's someone else just trying to cover their own butt there
It
and make
was going to
something
be
happen.
Sam or Genevieve.
And I wonder, does she do the same thing if rules are reversed, right? And it's like, I think you can respect it on a game level, especially someone like Genevieve who struggled to make those like very social connections. So she's more of like a strategic type of thinker. I think she would respect it. Maybe in the moment you're burned. I mean, I think in the moment she was kind of just like a little just like we saw like she wasn't like overtly like mad about it. It was kind of just like, well, that's just how it goes. Um, he got played in a sense.
Yeah. And some things quickly that I wanted to mention that I thought were interesting regarding tribal council is Teeny says that Sam told her that Genevieve's idol is fake, and Caroline looks shocked, looks at Andy, and then Andy smiles. So this made me think if anybody playing the game was staring at the jury, this could have given away that the idol was truly fake. Um, what do we think about jury reactions? Like if someone says something answering a question to Jeff, and then a jury member like reacts in a certain way that would possibly give away information when they're no longer in the game. Because if
That
somebody
could
was
also
looking at
be editing.
Andy, it could have given away that it was fake.
It, Pat, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, that could always be like editing, right? But at the same time, like I don't think it does as much as like I don't think you would put as much stock into something like that in the grand scheme of things. But
I think the reacting part, if you can't control it, jury's going to react to things.
yeah,
And like as long as they're not talking right there, I think you're fine. But here's the thing. As a juror, one, you have to be focused on Jeff, you have to be focused on the other players. You're probably not focused on the jury. And I'm not gonna begrudge it. And maybe a little bit you want to give a little look to the jury, but also it's, you might have an idea, okay, maybe that's fake, but then you're also probably in your own head being like, well, maybe they're reacting to something else. What do they know? All that stuff. Like
Yeah, that's true. There
it's
was
so
one time
tough.
in LRG where I made it pretty far and was like constantly the jury would come in and I'd be asked questions by the host, and every single time I always stare at the host and was afraid to stare at the jury because I had just voted out everyone on the jury,
Yeah.
and I don't think they want me staring at them and smiling or like trying to talk to them. Like they're probably upset with me. So I just felt like it was uncomfortable. And I think I maybe people in the game of the actual survivors thinking the same way. They don't want to just stare at the jury who's mad that they just got voted out. Like they want he would stare at Jeff and the people playing the game because they're still in the game and the jury isn't.
yeah,
And the jury can still hear you. You don't need to be staring at them. So I think that makes sense. There's a good chance that nobody even saw Andy's face. I did think it was funny that Teeny said she's certain that she isn't certain and is certain that it's going to be either bad or good. Um,
That
that
was
was
my favorite.
that
good
was
way to
really
assess
funny,
it.
and that summarizes Survivor for you. But
I
also
don't know what's happening and something will happen. That was what he said. I don't know what's happening, but I'm certain something will happen.
right. Um, what's interesting with the way Jeff read the votes, the last vote that was read, it was a 2-2 tie, and the last vote to decide who went home was Sam's vote. I don't know why Jeff did this because it's a 2-2 tie. It should be stressful for both people in that tie. Sam knew he was not going home, and when you look back at it, he was not phased at all. He was standing up straight with not a scared face on because he knew that, oh, my vote has not been shown yet. I'm safe. Usually the people in the tie, they put their votes first. So what do you guys think about that?
I didn't even pick that up to be honest.
Yeah,
I
but
barely picked it up. I was like, wait a second, let me rewind that for a second.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up. I mean, yeah, it
no,
kills some of the suspense for uh for him, I
Sam.
guess. But
But yeah, well, well, minor mistake,
yeah,
Yeah.
minor production flaw.
Editing has made many mistakes before. I can forgive him for this one.
And so I know you guys wanted to talk a little bit about Sue. A good segue into talking about Sue is my mom, who I was actually, when I was typing up some notes and doing a rewatch for Survivor, she was watching it with me, and she was like, "You should say this on that." I said this for the podcast. She said to say that she is extremely proud of Sue for finding the idol before the merge and holding on to it all the way to the final five. She's very proud of Sue and wanted me to give Sue some credit where credit is due, and I know you guys want to as well.
Now let's give Mary a shout out first.
Yes, Mary Lupo,
Yes,
Um, um,
shout out Mrs. Lupo.
shout out.
what a badass. Her
Yeah.
and Sue. I will say that about both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sue. Sue, like the savviest, most strategic player in the world, absolutely not.
How dare you?
But Sue is why I love Survivor. Think about it. Someone who is older than everybody on the cast. Um,
45.
right. But brings something unique and different. Sue's game was loyalty, right? Kind of like an old school angle there.
Yeah,
Um, but I appreciate Sue because Sue stayed true to her narrative, right? Sue stayed true to the way that Sue was going to play. Sue plays like that 10 out of 10 times.
yeah.
Sue finding the idol, badass, cool, good stuff. But Sue plays the way that Sue plays 10 out of 10 times. And you got to respect that. Um, a lot of people liked Sue as a person, but she just didn't have the agency to make any flashy styled moves. Which sucks, but you didn't make it happen. It just is what it is. My thing is, did Sue think that she had a chance at the end? Like really?
I think
I don't know. I think she understood it was an uphill battle, but I don't think she thought she was a zero vote finalist.
Like Sue might win like a teeny final two, maybe.
Maybe.
from what we're seeing, yes, but I think Sue's rationale going in has to be I have Caroline, I probably have Caroline, probably have Gabe, and then what? You need basically two, maybe three more votes.
Yeah, and I also
And so you have
think,
a shot. I get it. I get thinking it's not about, but also thinking she's like, if I give a really good final travel, I have a shot.
and Sue like described her game perfectly.
Yeah.
Like the way that we saw it play out is the way that she ended up describing it into the end.
Hmm.
Which I thought was really interesting because some people just don't have a lot of game awareness once they get to the end. Kind of like Mike. Mike had no, when Marianne and Romeo, what was that, 42? Yeah, 42.
Yeah.
Mike just didn't practice what he preached at the end, right? And that hurt him. I think we're talking about two totally different circumstances because Mike had the Jerry favor on his way in, Sue did not.
Yeah.
But I think what I liked most about Sue was seeing her talk about her game in a way that I don't think that she tried to do anything too crazy. I don't think that she tried to make these big reaches. I think she just kind of talked about her game and that's it. And I like Sue. Sue's cool. I'm glad Sue. I'm glad we got a lot of Sue.
Yeah.
Can I pivot that Sue discussion for a bit
Yeah.
to fire?
Yep.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about fire, and then I gotta say, for a finale episode, and yes, part two was the actual finale. Sorry, CBS, whatever. That was your finale. For what really looked like a boring finale, the minute I frankly saw that obstacle course was like Rachel's winning this, why are we even bothering?
Yeah.
To get that level of fire make challenge between Teeny and Sam, getting all of Teeny's like insecure, I'm gonna say insecurities with love, all that stuff, all the past uh, situations, like everything happening with Sam coming to a head in that moment, I think was so interesting. Getting a challenge that close was so interesting. And it makes me think, what if Rachel put Sue in that spot instead of Teeny and said, because it felt like the goal was to get Sam out, but it wasn't the goal. The goal was to get Sam out, but I'd rather say, you know what, I can beat any of them. So let me bring who I believe is the weakest person to the end. Like
The
that's always I
most
think something
loyal.
that's
The most loyal.
yeah. Well, here's my I think every immunity winner's dilemma for the most part. Actually, I don't say I really, but assuming you can either A, go into fire, that's one option, but the other two options are you bring somebody who you believe you can beat at the end, you have the best chance of beating, or do you say, here's the person I'm most likely to lose to, I need to get them out by any means necessary, who is the best person to take them out?
Or um do you yeah, like
Because
there's also like, do you bring someone who is also a big threat that you don't want to have an extra nod on their
yeah,
resume for
I
winning fire, or do you want to just bring someone you're loyal to? So, for example, Ben brought Charlie to the end, easily could have put Kenzie against Charlie in fire, but uh brought Charlie because Charlie was his boy. Charlie obviously was a big threat in the game and still got brought to the end. In this scenario, I think Rachel literally did the exact same thing, but her closest ally was someone who was a goat. But I don't think she chose Sue because Sue was going to be an easy beat. She even said in her confessionals, I think I can beat everyone here, but I will have the hardest time against Sam. So I want him to go into fire and him to lose. And the person who I think has a good chance of beating him is
yeah,
Teeny. But I do think Sue, who has been tending the fire all season long, probably could have beaten Sam,
no,
but
not probably would have beaten Tim. I think that
would have beaten
yeah.
Sam. Uh, the thing is, Rachel had Sue be so loyal to her that she wanted to repay the favor and felt it would be a betrayal to have Sue go into fire, especially because Sue, to our knowledge, did not ask to be in fire. If Sue asked to be in fire, maybe Rachel would have done that. But I think Sue cared the most about making it to the end of the game for her grandchildren.
Well, here's the
So,
thing. At that point, you don't need Sue's jury vote. It doesn't matter. Sue's not on the jury. You're not getting her vote. So frankly, I would say almost to hell with what Sue thinks. Obviously, if you're going to end up putting Sue in a position where she's vulnerable and then on the jury, yeah, you care a little bit about that. I think Sue's the type of where if you position it to Sue as, hey, we both need Sam out if we're going to if we're going to have a shot,
but
and you've been the best at
Teeny's still
fire.
going to vote for Rachel.
Yes, yes, but I think if you're looking at it as who do I need to take out, then you want your strongest person up there, and I think very clearly to everybody out there, it was Sue. And I think Sue would take that as a badge of honor. All right, I have a job to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Pat, what do you think?
I agree. But also Teeny was really good at fire. It was just the wind kind of screwed her, and she was so
Yeah.
stressed at the time that
Uh,
she didn't think to stand up and block the wind. I also think it was that Teeny built the fire right underneath the rope, and Sam built it a little bit behind the rope.
yeah.
So even though Sam had less wind blowing on his fire, the wind was blowing the fire into the rope when Teeny's fire was blowing away from the rope. So I also think that was a big um, reason why the wind affected Teeny so much compared to Sam's fire.
Yeah, yeah, the wind played a factor. It was a crazy, crazy fire making challenge. I dug it. It had me on the edge of my seat. Um, I love Sam's quote, "Find a way to find a way." That's pretty dope.
I love
Um,
it.
but no, I mean, I kind of wonder like, so if you bring Teeny, if you're Rachel, you bring Teeny and you put Sue up to take Sam out, right? And let's just say that she does, and it's Sue, Teeny, and Rachel. Do the likes of Gabe and Caroline, do they feel more inclined to vote for Sue at all? Does the fire make a difference at all?
Maybe
I
more, but I honestly, frankly, I think Rachel wins that game unanimously.
I agree, right?
yeah.
So I
I
think
think Gabe and Caroline respect Sue their relationship with Sue, but also respect the game, and think Sue will not be upset if they vote for Rachel, knowing Rachel obviously played such an amazing game. Um,
well, I think there was two factors. Rachel wins final immunity. It wasn't even like a thought like she's bringing Sue. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
She's like I'm bringing my girl. That's my girl. She's loyal. Sue had Rachel's back when Rachel didn't really have allies as well, right? So that's not those kinds of things go a long way.
Well,
Um,
I would at least be putting the question to Sue. And I think that's something I have to think of. Sue is my best friend maker. And I almost think you have to be at a point where I really can't care. But how can I convince Sue? And I think Rachel's so good at this that I think she could very well do. How can I convince Sue that she wants to make fire?
But I also think that, which is something that Rachel brought up in confessionals and at tribal council, that she didn't need Sam out. It would have made it easier for her, but she still felt confident in her game that she could beat
Yeah.
anyone, but would have preferred Sam go home. And also helped Teeny make sure she was really good at fire because you know, they that also goes a long way, just like with Carson and Jam Jam. Jam Jam helped Carson with fire, and even though Carson got voted lost fire, practically a locked vote for trying to help him win that fire making challenge. So I think that was huge for Rachel as well. And I think she was saying how she it was okay if Sam made it to the end. She still felt she was going to win, and she also didn't want to go into fire because um she thinks that like if like she wasn't afraid of facing Sam at the end if he was able to win.
and I
Uh,
think that that shows even like that shows even more dominance than putting yourself in fire and beating
Yeah.
Sam in fire.
Yeah,
I
I,
think the having the certainty and the confidence and the balls.
But the thing is, it needs to be backed up. If you have the confidence and the balls to do it, but the jury thinks you need to take this person out, and if you don't, you're going to lose, then it actually will backfire on you.
yeah,
So that's the thing. But I do agree with the way Rachel talked about not having to go into fire. Not only did she think she could win, but just for anybody, I don't think that fire making should be such a huge resume builder at the end to the point where people who win immunity think they need to go against the biggest threat in fire. I think if
yeah,
you are the best at fire and you need that person out, then yeah, go into fire. But if you're doing it just to add something to your resume, that
yeah.
should not be something juries really take
Like
into
Heidi putting
consideration.
herself
I
in fire. It didn't do anything.
I mean, it may have gotten her a vote, but
Danny was
what
always for her.
what I would say is, and I think it's one you need to. It just you need to be able to read your jury, look
Absolutely.
at them and what is important to them. And I will say, it didn't hurt Heidi to go into fire and take out Carson. What's because I think you can look at it as two of one Heidi going into fire, but also just Heidi getting Carson out at that point.
Yeah.
Uh, but what's interesting, I would say, I'm the type of person who would almost look at it as like, if you win immunity and go into fire, I'm like, why are you putting yourself at risk?
Yeah.
Like, and
I would.
I'm a guy who likes the like you're not at risk of going home. However, you can do that. And I also think the person who gets quote unquote taken to the end, I give them a lot of credit. How did you convince somebody to say, you know what, I'm not going to put you in the line in pun intended the line of fire. You
If
just
you can
say,
prove that you have a good social game over that you were
I mean,
just
I
trying
would be
to.
giving somebody credit for that. Like, you got no matter what, you got to the end without having to do anything. There was no risk. You made it here. Good job. But
Yeah.
it is so interesting because I also just feel for Cheney. I mean, I know Cheney's at peace with it now, and I feel great about that. That has got to be one of the toughest ways to go out humanly possible. Like, short of a rock draw, literally being like, I lost because of wind.
hmm
That is a tough pill to
If
swallow
you're on
25 days in.
Survivor, always and in the fire making challenge, always choose the right side.
I
It's been like that for years and years and years,
I
and
mean,
people
You go
still
out. Do
don't
you go out
realize.
in fire, or do you like? Do you rather go out in fire in fourth place, or you rather go to the end and not win?
I think Tini has said like now they're at peace with it and they would rather gone out at four. But I think there is something to knowing, even if you're like, I don't have a great shot, to being able to say, I would have had a shot,
Yeah.
and you never know. That to me, that would kill me. that would kill me. So I would like, all right, even if I didn't have the best shot, I would have had a shot, and you never know what could have happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that would eat at me. But Teeny's in good spirits about it, and I would say lesson learned. Check, do a little check of the wind. See where it's blowing, see the
Yeah,
direction, do the best you can,
exactly.
do the best analysis you can.
And
Because
something in this tribal council that was said by Sam that I thought was an outstanding answer to one of Jeff's questions, which was a great job preparing the jury for his speech at the end, was he said to the jury, "The necklace doesn't win you $1 million. I hope the jury members out of that are out of the game can separate history that should be recognized and admired and what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast." And that's why I personally thought that Sam deserved to win because the fact that Rachel, yes, she was gonna she tied a record with the women for 4 immunity challenge wins. Very admirable, very like making history, and that deserves to be recognized, like Sam said. And also had a great idol play, but got lucky with finding it in fries. He's pretty much saying she won challenges and got lucky with an idol, but I did not need any of that and used my social ability. I used my strategic ability and didn't give up and was able to get out of countless votes where he was on the chopping block and survive because of the way he strategically maneuvered through the game without needing immunity, without needing an idol. And so he was trying to say he truly outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted. Rachel only outplayed physically and outlasted. She did not outwit. And so that is something that I, as a jury member, would have respected Sam's answer. And Andy even said that to Caroline, saying, like, wow, that was a good answer. So,
shifting gears with that a little bit, I'm just curious. Final tribal, who would you vote for?
um, from the viewer's perspective, Sam.
Yes. Okay. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you could not be more wrong, but okay, fine.
Just for what I look for in a winner. I look for if you win a lot of immunity challenges, what did you do with those wins? And if you didn't strategically use those immunity wins to benefit your spot in the game, I don't I will not be voting for you. I respect the strategic and social gameplay of it more than the I was a threat halfway through the merge and won my way and idled my way to the end because they didn't have a chance to vote me out in the first place. If they had a chance to vote you out, you would have went home. If there's a chance to vote you out and you survive, explain how you survived, and that a good answer will probably get me to vote for you.
Pat,
But
you'd go
that's
Rachel,
just
right?
me as a jury member.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I'd go Rachel. Just
Okay, so
pure fucking dominance, dude. Like,
right.
yeah, I mean, people can say, you had to win your way to the end, win your way to the end, but it's like outplay. Come on, baby. Like, winning immunity is hard. Like, that's
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
hard.
but the thing is, all she did was win. She didn't do anything with her
Oh,
wins.
I think we've talked for the last 2 hours that Rachel did a
Yeah,
lot more
yeah,
than just
yeah.
win challenges. But can I say,
Like for like in competitive events, RT, he actually did things with his immunity wins, which I makes sense why
I
he
don't
did
even know
it.
who this person is, but
Yeah, it's just us
I
and
know he doesn't light a candle to
whoever's
Rachel, the
watching
mother herself.
who is a competitive events fan understand.
Okay.
Shout out Teeny,
Rachel,
also competitive events.
Rachel, the mother deserves love. And can I
Teeny got fourth in competitive events.
Yeah.
fitting, fitting.
Yep. That's why I was
Because
like, oh
nobody,
my God, is Teeny about to get fourth place
And
again?
Teeny's competitive event season, I think, this is my opinion from Prod, Teeny would have won if they made it to the
I
end.
also from watching, I think Teeny would have won.
ooh,
So
interesting. If
Teeny ran
only
that fans first favorites, I think.
could,
Was it fans first
Yeah,
favorites?
the
yeah,
Teeny and the Jays.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Teeny ran that
Jay
shit.
West was in an alliance with Teeny.
yeah.
Jason.
But yeah, I gotta say, all in all. I'm really curious to see how Teeny would have done in Final Tribal. And I thought we already got a really good Final Tribal. It's one of the more entertaining ones.
I don't think Teeny would have done that well. I
It
mean,
depends what angle Teeny goes.
I think Teeny knows what angles to go, and
I think Saul
T
votes for Teeny if Rachel's not there.
1,000%.
Saul votes for Teeny, maybe even if Rachel is there. Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
That's a
Especially
thing.
if he knows if Rachel's getting all, the majority of the votes.
If Teeny is there and can do a little bit more of that social game, maybe he gets one, maybe he gets two, and you never know. I don't think it's likely. I don't think it is, but I just would have been interested to see what would happen. And I gotta say, the one other thing, I want to give Kyle a little bit of shade. Kind of really trying to act like you're better than Sue when she's in the final three and you're not. Come on, man. I
Yeah,
think Gabe even to be like, dude, let it go. Like just give Sue her flowers for once. But
yeah, yeah.
Sue at Final Tribal, I'm so happy it came full circle with her saying at the very start of the season, I'm
I would
going
have.
to be there at the end saying I'm 59 and I beat all your asses. And then at Final Tribal says I'm 59 and I beat all of your asses. I loved that she
Yeah,
actually pulled
did.
through, and the confessional she said on day one, she said in Final Tribal, day 26. I think she could have delivered the line better. It was a little underwhelming, but she said it anyway.
Credit to Sue.
Credit to Sue.
But yeah, I mean, Sam had a great final drive. Whether we could discuss that.
Yeah.
Rachel, I thought had a very good one. Sue didn't get enough questions, but did okay. What
I
did
think
you?
Sue still got more questions than we saw. I
Yeah, I mean,
think
of
it was
course.
just
I'm just saying
edited
from
out.
what we
Yeah, at
saw.
least she didn't get the Ben treatment from 46.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like she got that
Because
much more,
like
which
Final
always sucks.
Tribal is usually like 3 hours long about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
long.
hey, it's better than Troy's hand. It's always better than Troy's hand.
Yeah, that was
Then
pathetic.
basically said, "Hey, don't vote for me.
Yeah, it's like, hey, don't vote
I
for me. I
suck."
know
Was
I'm
like,
not good enough to win.
was like, I got a question. Yeah, I got a question. It was so sad. But did you guys really quick Survivor After Show? I think we all are on the side of get rid of it. But did you guys watch it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched it.
I
It
don't
was
remember fucking lick or anything
probably
like
the
that.
worst after show out of
I
all
hate the
that
after show. It's
Oh, it's so bad.
awkward.
the
It's
new era
weird.
started.
I get what Jeff is going for. I will say that, but for the players themselves, like especially everyone else, whatever, the final three, especially the two losers, they are in shambles. They are miserable. Like I literally talked to Cassidy about it. It's like, yeah, I just like had $1 million basically felt like it was stolen from me. I had 26 days of this, and now I still have cameras in my face.
I feel the worst for Charlie.
Charlie and Cassidy were the two that
Charlie
I'm
and
like,
Cassidy, because Cassidy did think I going into it, I have won the season and then didn't.
yeah, but yeah, get rid
So
of
No,
the after show. Let's bring back the reunion.
uh, I had this question earlier, and I'm glad I didn't forget it. But since we are towards the end of what we're talking about with 47,
As the clock reaches 2 in the morning over here.
yeah, right. So out of the new era, besides Charlie, because I know you're both gonna freaking say Charlie. After Charlie, who's like the best losing finalist that we've had?
New era or just in general?
New era.
Mm,
Is it Sam? Is it Caroline?
No, it's not Carolyn. Ah,
no, not Carolyn, no.
Austin. I got to give Austin a lot of love.
Forgot about it.
Oh, yeah.
Austin deserves a lot. I'm also gonna give Mike a good amount of credit.
I feel like
I
Austin,
put Mike on.
if there was not a final tribal, Mike would have won. I think
well, that
if Mike was a little more self-aware and would able to actually say like, "Oh, I did manipulate you guys," rather than saying like, "No, I didn't lie to you guys," um, I think he could have done a lot better. So even though it was
I
a
only
seven
lied
to
to
one vote,
Roy. It's like, bro, that doesn't fucking impress anybody.
yeah,
lied to Hey,
I do think there are a lot. There's Sam, Austin, and Mike. I would say if I had to choose one. Uh,
It's gotta be Mike.
if I
oh,
choose one, probably Sam, then
you
Mike, then Austin. That's
you
what
gotta throw. I still think you gotta throw Cassidy in there. I really
I
do.
No,
I
I
will never.
Cassie's great.
I
Makes
don't think
sense.
Cassidy deserved to win that season. I don't
and
think
that's
any of
fine,
the
but
final three deserved to win that season, but
and then
I'm
that's the
glad Gabe
argument I'll
won.
make. But Cassidy was there are two people that very well I can make the argument that she should have beat.
Yeah,
I
I
understand
agree.
why you wouldn't, but but to me, I think she deserves some love there.
I
Mhm.
agree.
So she has to be up there with a Charlie and an Austin, in my
I
opinion.
think
That's probably my top three.
I think the zero vote finalist who was robbed the most, other than Carolyn, but I wouldn't even say she's number one for me. Um, and obviously you guys don't believe me. Xander.
No,
No, I agree with you. I actually think I
Yeah.
agree with you there.
I actually think that that was a jury problem for Xander. I
Yeah, I
mean,
thought Xander had that
no one
game
on the
locked
jury.
up. I thought
Oh,
Xander was
that.
guaranteed to win.
Oh no. Oh,
I
I
thought like
right.
going into final seven that
Ugh.
if Deshaun that the only people who could win the game were Deshaun, Xander, and Ricard going into final seven.
That's
And
that's a
I
take.
and then two of them went to the final three and neither of them won, and I was shocked. Well, it's because they were terrible at editing
They
the
were.
season. It made it seem like those three were guaranteed to
I mean,
win.
I you and I watched different shows then. There were podcasts of me saying
This
Xander has
Pat,
no
Pat
shot of
feels the
winning.
same way. Erica was nobody saw coming.
No, I mean I saw Erica coming out to an extent. I was like, Erica can win
I
this,
saw Erica
but
coming in the finale.
Yeah,
I saw it a
at
little
the
before. I was like,
finale, I saw Erica coming. That was it.
I saw it a little beforehand. I'd like the record to show. But yeah,
I
no,
think the
Xander
whole
deserves
game
some.
changes if Xander uses his idol for
Yeah,
Tiff or not
I
that.
will say, well, we have to factor in with that season of 42. First time they're ever playing 26 days. They don't even know how the game works.
Yeah, it's a
Like they're
different game.
playing an entirely new game of Survivor, and it's funny. Xander even said that
Mhm,
to me. He's like, I basically played a different game of Survivor, and I didn't know how to play it.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but
I
all
also
in all,
want to talk about some questions that were mentioned in Final Tribal. One of them by Genevieve, which I thought was a great. We saw a lot of great questions from this jury. I really
they
loved the questions that they asked. Genevieve asked this to Sue and said that she understands that Sue's game is obviously based on loyalty, but does that mean that Sue thinks that anti-loyal traits and lying and deceiving are considered bad gameplay? I really loved that question because it gave Sue a chance to talk about why being loyal was truly a great like gameplay and why if she thinks that loyalty should be praised over being deceptive.
Yeah, no,
I don't
I
think she
love that
answered
too.
it great,
There's,
but I think it was a great question to ask.
I
there's
can't
so
lie.
many variables that get you to the end,
Yeah,
right? And different variables work for different people. And I think what that does is, you're highlighting a different path to the end. But like I've always said, getting to the end is so much different from winning the game. There's like 100 ways to get to the end, but there's very, very intentional and certain ways to win the game. And I mean I like the question because it opens the door to because there's no joke in this new era of Survivor. It's very game body, right? It's a lot more gamers. Everybody knows the show from the back of their hand. Like 85% of the new players that have played since season 41 could probably tell you the fucking boot list of Cambodia. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone is a
you want to
huge,
test me right now? I'll go ahead.
right? Like so it's one of those things where it shows that there's multiple paths to get to the end.
Yeah, Shireen.
Right, right, right. So what's really gonna, give you that oomph to win the game? And I just
I'm,
don't think Sue had
can I
any stock there to do so.
say that I love we kind of went back to the old format. We
I
Yeah,
went.
actually
I
don't
real
mind this format. That's a hot take as well.
Wait, say it again.
I actually do not mind this format.
No,
I love
this
it.
format. This format, I almost think they got perfect because you got everybody being able to ask a question. They all got their time. Although I don't remember what Kyle said. I wrote down everybody else. I literally don't.
Kyle just
No,
said that in an immunity challenge he would beat Sue.
no, he said that, but I didn't know what he said. Like when he went up, like if he like really had a moment of a question. But I guess they edited that out.
I
What I
don't
did,
think so.
what I loved is that we managed to get these questions, and then we got the jurors going back and forth with each other and with the jury. I think that is the right balance of making sure that like they talk to everybody, but also that the jurors can really, I guess, theoretically be in control. And the whole thread that I really liked was the when Caroline asked what your biggest mistake was in the game, and then I think Rachel used that so well to take when Sam started going about not tying up loose ends and throwing Andy's name out there and sharing the fake idol with Genevieve, telling Teeny about that, and and every time Rachel's like, I got you, I clocked you. Like that wasn't that good a move. Like that whole exchange back and forth, I thought was really good. So
Yeah, it was a good final tribal.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
like when there's at least because like sometimes too with the final three that we see is like there's one person that has no shot. There's somebody that is like the clear front runner, and then you have someone that's like maybe fighting
Like
for
the underdog, I guess. There's
yeah. There's
Yeah.
like
the no chance, there's an underdog, and there's the most likely winner. And
yeah.
Yeah.
most of the
With
time, the
this, it
most
was
likely
kind of
winner
like
wins. But
I knew Rachel was probably gonna win, but there was a second where I was like,
W- with what they had, I think they did a very good job of editing. And I also will
yeah,
say, sit if you were at final three, make sure you sit in the middle,
yeah.
yeah, middle has won every single time in the new era.
I
except
want,
once.
can you?
Except once.
Really, who?
Gabler, Cassidy was in the middle.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They
yeah. Well, I
if
guess
it
no. Sorry,
production,
if you're sitting in the middle, production thinks you're gonna win.
yeah, I would be like, can I sit in the middle? And they're like,
They thought Cassidy was gonna win.
and I get why they would think that.
Yeah. Um,
So sit in the middle.
and something I also like that Sam said in Final Tribal was that he purposefully tried to make Rachel the biggest threat so that nobody was looking at him, alluding to the fact that she wasn't actually the biggest threat. He was, but he wanted someone else to be voted out before him so that he could make it further in the game.
Yeah, and I
I
think she
think
ate him
that
up with that.
wasn't I don't think that was 100% truthful. I do think he was doing it for that reason, but I do think Rachel was just a huge threat. However, I think this was an amazing answer to the question that was asked to him and definitely made his final tribal like that much more substantial and like actually gave him a chance to win by saying this. But the thing is, I don't think the jury really bought it, but I think that I feel like they should have. I think it was definitely a good response and uh something that is a smart strategic move to do. Like if any obviously Rachel played a good game, but was she actually playing the best game or was Sam just trying to make it seem like she was playing the best game so that she'd be voted out? I kind of
Yeah.
like this answer from him.
That's fair. And Sam had a very good final tribal. I still think I would definitely vote for Rachel. Pat would have voted for Rachel. Like
Yeah.
Rachel earned that win head to toe. I think my last question for you guys, really quickly, where does 47 rank in the new era as a season? First?
First for me.
Oh, I'm at two.
Okay.
I
Who,
have 45
number
ahead
one?
of it.
45? Okay.
Yeah, I go
Don't
45.
even 46 pretty low or no?
No, I have 46 like at four.
Okay.
The beginning of
Let
46,
me write it
I
down.
hated. I have 45, 47, 44, 46, 42, 43, 41. Or 40, 42, 41, 43.
I gotta go with this. Hold on.
It's a good way to. And Steven, do you have a list?
I do. It's almost in the order of the seasons, but there's one change.
I got
Okay.
mine. Ready?
I
Yep.
have 47 all the way down to 41, except put 44 second to last.
I see.
Oh, interesting.
So I got
I think
47, 46, 45, 43, 42, 44, 41.
okay.
Delusional beyond belief. Okay.
I go 45, 47.
Hey,
Oh, you just said one.
I know, but I'm thinking, and I have recency bias.
Okay.
45 is my favorite.
see, Pat
45,
knows I'm right.
47, 42,
Okay.
43,
Hmm.
6, 41, 44.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay, you have 44 dead last. Okay.
Yeah, I hate it.
Um,
I hate it.
the 46 I think is
I like
crazy.
the
Oh,
Tika 3. That's the only redeeming thing about the season. Everything else.
no, you're right. That's why I have 44 low.
I just like the take it
I
three.
think 46
I don't even like Carson. I like
should
Jam
be a
Jam and
lot
Carolyn.
higher. 46 was just so chaotic for me, and I enjoyed it because
Yeah.
you didn't know what was going to happen, and you had some crazy characters like Q. You had Charlie, probably my favorite player of the new era, who was
Oh my God.
That's so fitting, Steve.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because Charlie is
Because
that's
Charlie would play exactly how I would play.
Charlie
Simple.
play, you think you'd play like Charlie.
I have played like Charlie. I've played these games all the time. I
Yeah, I think in some ways you're better than Charlie. I think in some ways you're worse, but I think you're a little different.
hmm
But regardless, Rachel,
I love his type of gameplay. Like it's one that I tr really respect
yeah.
and
But
thought should have gotten more
I
points. But
I think what we agree on for the most part, Rachel, a really strong winner.
yeah.
This cast, a really strong cast this season overall, really, really strong. And I gotta say, the way the new era started and all this stuff, like it's just we've had three straight really, really good seasons. I think that's something we all can agree on, and it's just so nice to have.
Yeah. I'm hoping 48 is gonna be good.
Let's keep
48
it going.
a seems to be like a much older looking cast. I'm excited for that. I
I'm
think this
here for it.
yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And a lot of jack dudes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. And I'm excited to I know it's been a while since we probably have seen 48 but like the trailer and stuff. But there are some people that I saw that I kind of already have my eye on just from the short clips. Um I think my current winner pick, because I don't know any of their names, I just know what they look like or what they said in the thing.
Oh, you're gonna judge a
Um,
book by its cover.
my winner picks are the Asian guy and the speech teacher with a giant beard. Those are my current winner picks. Um, I like the girl who said that she was weird and the girl that said she has autism. Those two I think will do well. Um, I don't like the girl who mentioned tarot cards, or the girl that said Jeff was specifically talking to her when saying to apply to the show. I like the guy who said his muscles were all chocolate milk. Um, and but I do
That
think
dude's getting
I think he'll be
Yeah.
a late
that dude's getting
pre-merge
third
boot.
boot.
What?
Yeah.
That dude's giving like third boot.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he's going to be a late pre-merge boot. I
I
do
think
like him, but I
early.
don't think he's making merge.
Oh God, what an idiot. I think they may have dumbed down the casting a little bit this season, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
We'll
man,
find out. A couple
we're gonna have
weeks,
some
months
we're gonna
away.
have some fun. Hey, can I maybe get a winner pick right? Hey, I came as close as I ever did. I picked Sam preseason. We'll see if maybe I get over the hump.
My winner picks for the new era generally have made it very far,
Have you
especially
gotten one right? Have you gotten one right?
no.
Pat, have you?
I've not gotten one right. Yeah, Pat had D like since the start.
Okay, so we mostly all suck. We are one for
Yeah, but
21 put
in the
together.
No,
first
I
half
called
of the
Gabler
new
too.
era, first half of the new
You
era,
called Gabler episode before the season.
Yes.
I mean, he says that, but
Rewind the
never
tapes.
said that on the
Rewind the tapes.
podcast.
Okay. Maybe two for 21. We still suck. And with that, the season,
I
thank
did
God the
have
season's done today.
40, let's see, 41.
All right, Steve, we don't need to go through them.
I think I had Xander and then like Omer, Jesse. They
Okay.
all did pretty well.
Yes, sir.
And
Right.
it counts for nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
gentlemen.
all right,
Yeah,
yeah. So this was so much fun. I'm glad we got to recap the finale, part one and part two with you guys. I know it's a little bit past, a few weeks past when it aired, but I'm so happy to finally get to recap it with you guys. We've been busy, but I'm glad we got together and closed out together the season 47, which we all seem to rank top two of the new era. So.
That's right.
this was
Thanks
so much
for having
fun.
me, Steve. It was nice to get back on the pod. Been super busy, but 48.
Yeah,
We'll see if I can sneak in a couple times and
let's
run it
do
back.
it.
Yeah,
You guys are the
exactly.
best. This is so
If
much
not, I
fun.
give Alex full permission to take my spot as much as Steven allows.
Wow. Pat, that is an endorsement that means a lot to me.
You got
That
So we'll
means a
definitely
lot,
have
man.
Alex on for a lot of podcasts.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
All right, Alex, any last words?
This podcast sucked. No. Season was great. Winner was great. Just yeah. Let, let's keep it going. Let's keep this momentum going. Maybe we'll get a fourth straight women winner. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and Pat, any last words?
That's it, man. Just Happy to do it. Happy to have a good season of Survivor. Looking onward to another good, season of Survivor. I'm a little different from Alex. Fourth straight women winner. I love women. Don't get me wrong. Love them with every bone in my body. But I'm ready for a dude, one of the boys, to take this back.
Same.
We'll see what happens.
I'm loving the women winners, but I'm ready. I'm ready for one of the bros to come in, take over.
But we'll see. Make
We'll
the
see.
best player win. That's all I care
Yes.
Yep.
about.
Let's have
Exactly,
some fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for hopping on, and we're gonna close out season 47 at the Tribal Lines podcast. We'll be back for season 48 and possibly a podcast, maybe talking about who we think should be on Survivor 50. Um, so look out for that. But if we are unable to do that, we'll see you back here for Survivor 48. All right, see you guys.